Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field that Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. But need OG Keith.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
In the clouds, though they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving it energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, we got Ethereum approaching our macro target up at the value area high. We got XRP on the move. We got dominance continuing to drop to the downside. Are we on the cusp of this mega altcoin rally on the way, guys? Yo, shout out to Dutch. He said no sound. But are we on the cusp of that massive alt season, guys? If you've been tuning in, you guys know our longer term sentiment is for this final phase of the bull market to continue, ending in a final big altcoin season. We're starting to see some things move. Ethereum leading the way, XRP starting to fly, and again, dominance coming down. We have the total 3 reclaiming its value area low. Super, super exciting stuff. We're going to be taking a look at the altcoins today. Obviously, we'll check in on Ethereum and XRP. And then I'm also going to obviously go over Bitcoin as we are getting a push into our macro golden pocket retracement. Are we going to get a lower high before coming down a little bit more? Or are we just ready to break out here and see new all-time highs? I'm going to break it all down for you guys on tonight's live stream. So shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We got Poster Bitbag in the chat. What is going on? Said, can Mrs. Candles take a look at Tau, please? Please and thank you. Shout out to Poster. We'll have to get Mrs. Candles in here to give her thoughts on Tau. But shout out to Poster. Welcome in, bro. We got Sam Bennett in the chat. John Santos, what is going on? Said, ask yourself, have you liked the stream? Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. Every 100 likes we get gives you guys some extra chances to win some free crypto. We used to give away XRP, but then got a little confusing because people needed collateral, so we started doing Cardano. But if we get 1,000 likes on tonight's live stream, I'll give away $200 in, I don't know, whatever crypto we decide. Maybe Solana. I mean, if you have collateral in your wallet, maybe we'll send some XRP. I don't know. But we'll give away $200 on tomorrow night's live stream if we get 1,000 likes on tonight's live stream. And we're also giving away 10 bags of ADA tomorrow as well. Let's see. We got Mr. Cali 20 in the chat. What is going on? I think that says Mr. Cali. He said, I already like the stream. Have you? Shout out to Mr. Cali. I appreciate you, bro. Let's run it up to 550 early in the stream, guys. And then through the rest of it, let's run it up to 1,000 so I can give away some. Let me give away some crypto, guys. But we got Crypto Owl says, the greatest 100. Shout out to Crypto Owl. Welcome in. We got Dead Cat in the chat. I said, try looking at something else like CRV. Maybe we'll take a look at CRV tonight. I'll go ahead and write it down. We will take some requests from chat. I try to look at as many altcoins as we possibly can every single night. Unfortunately, we can't look at all of them. But let's see. Perry says, 15K made today from XRP spot. I'm going to retire my mom this cycle. I swear to God. Thanks to crypto. Thanks, Frankie, for your analysis. Shout out to Perry. Let's go, baby. That's what I like to hear. Just retiring the parents. I love it. We got Keith in the chat. What is going on? Yo, shout out to Alt F4. Thank you for the super chat. Says, just ripped a sweet 69X long on Shiba. Shiba. Let's go. Shout out to Alt at 4. Congratulations, bro. I'll even throw a little bit of money for you. Oh, my God. I just dropped it. There we go. Shout out to Alt at 4. Bing bong. Let's go. Shout out to you, man. Oh, God, Mrs. Candle's going to be pissed at me now because she is the one that cleans up the money. And the stack gets shorter and shorter every time she cleans it up, guys. I swear. But anyway, guys, we got a lot to look at on tonight's live stream. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. Let's see here. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Brandy, says thanks for your analysis. Any problem, any day, bro. That's what we're here for. Crypto retirement plan. Shout out to Smoking Brunch. Let's go. But as we look at the price action here, guys, Bitcoin getting another pop to the upside here. Now, if I bring up the local analysis that we have been looking at, obviously I am holding the long position from the low with the premium Discord from this value area low. I've already taken. I have my stop loss in profit on this, looking for a potential continuation up. Now, obviously, guys, we are coming into one more last level of resistance. We're going to talk about this today. But I am still holding this long position. Are we going to be able to pop back into new all-time highs? I'm going to show you guys something on Market Cypher B that just might be pointing towards that. And we do have some very specific signals here, but we cannot ignore that this is obviously going to be resistance until proven otherwise. And this is the full Golden Pocket 786 retracement when pulled from the high all the way to the low. So if we are going to get some kind of a lower high in here, guys, and we are going to get a bigger retracement before finally going into that final parabolic move, in my opinion, this would be the last place to be looking for that push to the downside with the 786 sitting right here at about 121,676. This will be the doorway to higher prices, guys. Once we get above this and we can claim support, that is where I will be looking up towards all-time highs. If we're going to put in that lower high, it must come in this zone. So there you go. Not only does it give us that level of resistance, but also gives us that doorway into higher prices. And we've been looking at these 786s as doorways to higher prices on a lot of stuff recently. And, we've been looking at them on the live stream, seeing that actual flip to support before pushing into new all-time highs. So just keep that in mind. This is a very key level on the chart right now, in my opinion. 121,647, we'll call it, right? Break above that, I will be anticipating new all-time highs. And again, it's not just a wick above on a low time frame and a wick back down below. In that case, you might still get the rejection. But if we could start closing like 4-hour candles here and claim support, that is where I'll be looking for all-time highs. Looking at Market Cypher B, guys, we do also somewhat have some signals here potentially pointing towards that continuation up. And what I'm going to be looking at here was pretty much the same thing as yesterday. And there it is, finally printing in all of its glory here. 12-hour green dot. I've been waiting for this, talking in the premium Discord, talking about like, hey, if we get this green dot, we may be able to break out here. But we are finally now printing this with our 1-hour money flow now crossed over into the green, indicating that maybe this trend could continue to the upside. And again, I do have to say this just one more time. We are pushing right into resistance, but if we have that 12-hour and 1-hour Market Cypher B116 strategy, on top of that, right, it's not just the Market Cypher B116 strategy, but when I look here at the 12-hour, I will say this, right, when we see the momentum wave forming like this, sometimes what we can do here is front run the bearish divergence. If we're going to come up here, put in a lower high on our momentum wave, although the bearish divergence is a bearish signal, right, in order to form that bearish divergence, it would call for a higher high to be made, right? So I will be watching this 12-hour green dot with our 1-hour money flow crossover into the green. And technically with the 12-hour green dot, the money flow that you should be watching, the 1/16th money flow, is actually the 45-minute, also in the green here. But as you can see here, right, that 16-hour green dot is also printing. The 12 and 16-hour are very close to each other. So kind of the same sentiment here, right? Green dot on the 16-hour, 1-hour money flow crosses into the green, right? You are looking for that little continuation to the upside. And if we can see the break of that 786, maybe we can make it up here. If we can continue to push through that, that is where I will be looking for all-time highs. So I cannot say it enough, guys. 121,640. Let me actually pull up the actual fib target here so I can get the exact number for you. Where's it at? Bada boom, bada bing. 121,651 is the level to break above in order to see all-time highs, guys. That is what I'm going to be looking at. And I do believe we actually have a daily MPOC up here, like right on this wick. However, again, once we break above this, if we can hold this as support, I really will just be looking for all-time highs. But if we do push in here with some bearish confirmation, I will look for a potential short position. But again, I would say it's a little bit lower probability just because once you get up here, I don't know, it's feeling pumpy with the way the 12-hour looks, with the 16-hour potentially calling for that bearish divergence, meaning we will get a higher high on price. I would have to be very, very careful with any shorts up here, to be quite honest with you. But if it's going to come in and we're going to get that bigger retracement down, and I will talk about that next key level of support on the chart right here. But if we are going to put that lower high in, I would be expecting a break of this low here at about 115,777, pushing us into the golden golden pocket, which is our next key level of support to the downside. Golden pocket, daily MPOC. This does sit between about 115,381 and 114,874. And then obviously, as we've looked at many times on the stream here recently, once you break back down below that golden pocket, guys, the next levels we have down below, there's quite a few, and I will be, like, I'm going to put more weight on this level, right, the golden pocket, rather than the 786. And the reason for that is because of the lack of confluence, right? When we look at the golden pocket 786s, typically it is a zone, and those long setups can come in within that zone between the golden pocket and the 786. This is all together one big area. However, I would have to put a little bit more weight on that golden pocket just because we have confluence, right? This is just the 786. This has the daily MPOC and confluence. So I will say that does look like a little bit of a better level in my opinion. But if we do lose it, you want to be aware of that 786. But at the end of the day, the next area of confluence that we have is really going to be sitting down here. If I pull up that volume profile, obviously we have the $112,000 structural highs here, right? This is what we looked at all throughout the week here, talking about this being the big key level that we do not want to lose. This is sitting between about $112,000 and $110,000. So if we are unable to hold that golden pocket, again, honorable mention here at the 786. However, if we lose that 786, I would really prefer to come down here because at least we have some kind of confluence in this zone, right? We have the structural highs, we have the daily MPOC, and the value area high of the previous range. And I will pull some anchored VWAPs here just to see if we can get any confluence on anchored VWAPs. Let me pull some significant ones here. Pull up the anchored VWAP. I'll actually just pull it from the low, see where that's coming in. Yeah, so you do have the anchored VWAP of from the bottom of this dump here at 98.2. This is in confluence. If we do come down, this will likely move up. So potentially, right, if we do wind up coming down again, if we put this lower high in and then we get the lower low to come in, depending on where this anchored VWAP is, if it's at the golden pocket, great, you have 3 levels of confluence. If not, well, hey, maybe if you lose that golden pocket, you actually will have a little bit of confluence there on the 786. But there's no telling until we get down there. And, who knows? We might not even have to come down there. But I want you guys to just be aware here, even if we do still see, there is still an opportunity until we break that 786, guys. There is still an opportunity of the high, the low, the lower high, and the lower low, right? Meaning cracking this structure to the downside right here. So golden pocket, 786, and then you have the $112,000 to $110,000 zone, and then we'll see where that anchored VWAP comes into play on the way down if we do get it. If not, I'll be honest right now, I would prefer a move to the upside just because I am holding many more longs than I am holding shorts. That does not mean that it is a higher probability that we get that we get a pump, but I would prefer that, right? Because then my longs will just continue to pay me out. I am still holding the longs here. This is my long over on Blowfin up about 8,700. So I am still holding that, and then I'm also holding the scalp long here up about $3,000. This was the more local scalp long on this value area low that we took in the premium Discord as we came down and pushed into the value area low with bullish confirmations. We took that position in the context of this volume profile, and then I'm just looking to hold a portion of that trade for higher, which actually did just happen. And if we take a look at that, right, I already have 1,000 locked in, still have 21 unrealized. So we'll see what happens with that. So still holding longs here, guys. Hopefully we can get them to continue to pop to the upside, but just be aware, just from a structural standpoint, I'll pull up a clean chart here. If I'm just looking at price action here from just a raw, no indicator, just Fibonacci standpoint, right, like high, low, whoops. High, low, lower high could come in here before breaking structure to the downside. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed, right? Again, we have that 12-hour green dot, 16-hour green dot with the money flow coming up, so that could be indicating the breakout, which obviously I am covered for on the long. If I do get any significant confirmations in here, we will look for that short position to the downside. And if I miss the short, no big deal, because again, my longer-term confluence, longer-term sentiment here, even if we got a bigger retracement to 112K, 110K, is for a bigger move to the upside. So if we do get that bigger dump down to our biggest key level of support on the chart right now, this would not mean bear market, in my opinion, right? Maybe if we come down there and it looks terrible, we'll look for lower prices. But at the end of the day, even if we did come down here, guys, this is something that we could see in the long term. Let me zoom out here, hide the daily MPOCs, and actually hide all this stuff as well. Let me hide the local range, bada boom. Whoops. Bring that range back up. Obviously, we had the major breakout here. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if we did come back down, retest the range high before continuing up. This is a scenario we could see happen, which is why if we come down to those levels, I'm not going to be screaming bear market. I will be looking for long positions back to the upside. But we'll see what that 12-hour green dot gives us, guys, because if it does continue to push us up here, and there you go, 12-hour green dot disappears once again. So obviously we do need that to confirm. 16-hour green dot is still there. But if that does wind up giving us a move up, guys, we will also have that daily green dot. You can see that VWAP starting to roll back to the upside here. If those 12 and 16-hour green dots continue us up, that daily green dot might just be following just right behind us. Now, Here's the mixed signal, right? And the reason, not just from a price action standpoint, understanding that a lower high could come in at the 786, but if we look at this, right, we do have the 2-day. The 2-day VWAP is getting very, very, very close to printing a red dot, which is why I'm entertaining the idea of maybe even getting a little bit more of a pullback, because nothing goes up in a straight line forever, especially after the initial breakout. Sometimes you will get that bigger retracement. And that 2-day red dot, if we are going to get the bigger retracement, this VWAP coming down could be an early indication of that. But again, you have that mixed signal of the 16 and the 12-hour as well. So a little bit of a choppy situation here, but we're just playing the ups and downs here, guys. Like I said, if we catch that short position, very nice. If not, we'll look to come down. I'll probably stop at a profit on my scalp long from the low here. And then, my other long is probably going to be pretty safe. So that's what we're looking at on Bitcoin, guys. I'm going to take a look at dominance. We'll take a look at total 3. We'll take a look at the altcoins. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything here in chat. Shout out to everybody in here. Let's see. Shout out to Yuli Ramirez. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Says, can you take a look at the syrup chart? Yes, I will try to take a look at that for you. No problemo. Sui, shout out to Sergeant. Thank you for the super chat. And yes, we will take a look at Sui, because I think we were going to look at it yesterday, but we ended up not doing it. And shout out to Golden jumping in with the 50 Frankie Candles membership. Let's go. Shout out to Golden. And I'm not gonna lie, guys. Golden was actually he sent me a picture in Discord. He was sniffing a hand of his own. So maybe that's why the market's pumping. I've been sniffing Mrs. Candle's hands. Golden's been sniffing some hands himself. That's like a double market pump right there. We got George. Shout out to George. Thank you for the super chat, man. He says, while they were busy calling it a scam, XRP was quietly doing push-ups in the dirt. Now it's back. It's back, shredded and ready to bench press their portfolio. Shout out to George. Let's go, baby. Shout out. I mean, guys, as you know, I am a holder of XRP, so whew, baby, it is nice to see that thing pop to the upside. And I mean, I'll be honest, it's one of the only altcoins that I've been holding that has not been absolutely crushed. Obviously, even throughout the last big dump that we got, XRP kind of like holding up very strong here. So I'm going to break down the XRP chart. Obviously, guys, we were looking at these levels to the upside as we were pushing up here. We have been, I'll come back to this in a little bit, but you guys can see we have popped above that all-time high into our next Fibonacci extension zone, which is sitting at about $3.52. And here we are sitting there right now, understanding that there was a high probability of at least a rotation from the value area low to the value area high. And then as that timing was lining up perfectly with our 2-day money flow crossover, that is the best signal on the altcoins to look for massive moves up. We have been looking at this for a couple of weeks now as that money flow starts trending to the upside, talking about, hey guys, if you're looking for big moves on the altcoins, those 2-day money flow crossovers are typically the things that give us those big, those things that give us the big move up. You can see even here on XRP, last time we got that 2-day money flow crossover was the start of the big leg to the upside. Are we about to see the same thing happen here? I do think it is very, very likely based off the macroeconomic situation, the rate cuts potentially coming down the line. And as you guys know, we have been comparing this every single day to this little fractal here in 2017, where you get that little sideways consolidation, almost the exact same situation here. We even talked about like how crazy it would be if you get the breakout like right at the exact same time. That would be, I don't know. That's like super, super creepy. But, again, if we do get pullbacks, like at this point, guys, I am feeling, have been feeling very bullish for a while. But even if we get those pullbacks, right, still looking for higher lows and higher highs based off that 2-day money flow. So I know it's exciting, right? And hopefully this thing can just take off like that fractal, right? Maybe this is just, where to go? There we go. Maybe it is just about to take off from here and start hitting those higher targets. But I will say, right, like you have to be aware of pullbacks, but any pullback is not really going to be that upsetting for me, right? I will just be looking for higher lows and higher highs, right? And that is leaning on the money flow, right? Even your 2-day money, 3-day money flow back in the green, but mostly off that 2-day money flow. As long as this stays in the green here, guys, any pullback has to be looked at as lackluster for higher lows and higher highs. So if we do go for a bigger retracement, obviously the retest of the range high would be the biggest level I would be watching at this moment. And yeah, I mean, as long as we don't really break deep back into this range, I do think you can see those higher highs and higher lows, or higher lows and higher highs. If not, maybe we just cook to the upside. But again, this is why we look at these value area lows, guys. This is where price is undervalued, right? And again, could you buy XRP here and it just moons? Maybe. But we like to call this stuff before it actually happens, and that's why we look at these volume profiles. We know that's undervalued for price. We know we're very likely to get that fill, the volume profile. And then, again, based off the cycle and what we've been seeing happen on the money flow, high probability of a bigger breakout to higher prices. Even looking at that fractal is absolutely crazy. But I'll break this down a little bit more in just a minute. Let's jump into actually Bitcoin dominance. You guys can see here on Ethereum, we looked at this, for a while now, but yesterday specifically, we were talking about this next key target sitting at the value area high at about 35.30. And you can see Ethereum has pushed up and just about to technically did touch into the zone. We haven't really physically tapped that value area high just yet, but you can see we did push into the purple box. As we know that once we get above that value area low on Ethereum, just like any other asset that we look at, guys, crossing this level here was the big sign that Ethereum was going to get to fulfill this volume profile. And it's pretty funny because like even on recent streams, we've been talking about, you know, again, the best chance for a rotation of this range had been when we came up in here and started seeing that 2-day money flow crossover. Every day, I compare this to back here. You get back in, 2-day money flow crosses into the green, you get the fulfill of the profile. And then as we approach in here, we see that money flow coming up, starting to cross into the green. Once it happens, very high probability of that rotation to the high. Absolutely explosive move on Ethereum. Thank God, because it was not fun down here. I'll tell you that much. As someone who holds a lot of Ethereum, it was not fun to see it down at these lower prices. But let's jump in here. Let's see. Shout out to Dwayne, bro. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, Candle Goat. Shout out to the goats out there. Candle Goat question on Market Cipher B. What oscillator has the strongest truth when it comes to divergences? Oh, yeah. And like up the chat. Shout out to Dwayne. Smash that like button, guys. What oscillator has the strongest truth when it comes to divergences? For me personally, I look at Market Cipher B divergences. This does not mean, if you do not have Market Cipher B, it doesn't mean that you can't find those divergences. You could obviously use something like the RSI. And to be quite honest, right, like 90% of the time, the divergences that you see on Market Cipher B are also going to be on the RSI, right? They're just both momentum oscillators. I look at Market Cipher B for the most part, and actually you can see here, right, we did have a 2-day bullish divergence, which is another very bullish sign for altcoins, lower lows, higher lows. You actually didn't have that on your RSI. It was more of like an exaggerated bull dip with a flat bottom, but more often than not, right, like if I could probably find a million examples of, you know, any like local divergence. Let me try to find something here. Yeah, like right here, you had a little bit of that. Just looking at this, right, you had higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves here on the 90-minute. You also had the same exact thing forming here on your RSI. So they're going to be very, very similar. You know, there might be times where the RSI has a divergence and Market Cipher B doesn't, or Market Cipher B has a divergence and the RSI doesn't. But I just pay attention to Market Cipher B for the most part. If I couldn't use Market Cipher B, I'd probably simply just use the RSI. There you go. Hopefully that answers your question, if that is what you were talking about. So yeah, that's what I would say as far as the strongest oscillator for divergences. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Dead Cat. Said I might change my name to Hidden Bull. Shout out to Dead Cat. Let's go, baby. We'll look for it. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Crypto Alt God says, bro, why your intro song goes so hard? Shout out to Crypto Alt God. We've had that intro song for quite some time. If you're talking about the Here We Go song, shout out to Jay like the alphabet. I think he's the one that made that song, so shout out to him. But yeah, do you mind checking out Render? Yeah, we'll take a look at Render. I'm going to take a look at Dominance in Total 3 with you guys real quick. We'll jump into some of the altcoins. I'll take some requests from you guys. We'll take a look at Curve. We'll take a look at, obviously, XRP, Ethereum. And then maybe we'll take a look at Cardano, something like that. So, yeah. Yo, shout out to Crypto Tiho, or Crypto Tijo says, where do you get all that energy from, bro? Shout out to you, man. I'm kind of shot today, to be honest with you. I always come up here and try to bring my full energy, but I am human. Sometimes I just like the amount of times where I'm like dying and I'm like, oh God, here we go. Come on, wake up. So that's good to hear. That's good to hear that you're feeling the energy, bro, because sometimes it is a struggle. I am a human. I do get tired sometimes, but I try to bring the fire here because we do talk about a lot of numbers and a lot of like just straight raw boring information. So we try to make it entertaining and fun. Otherwise it would be totally boring. It's like, all right, guys, here we go. We're coming up to this target. Like, oh God, who would want to watch that? But anyway, let's continue on here, guys. Again, taking a look at Ethereum, really like obviously like huge update, right? Ethereum's ripping, but it's kind of old news at this point because we've been looking for this move for ever since we broke above $2,100, right? So it's very, very nice to see that full rotation. And again, like I said yesterday, if you guys take anything away from this live stream, guys, please understand the volume profiles and the high probability rotations of them, especially when in line with the money flow on the higher time frames for Market Cipher B. We talk about it, it happens, not to brag in any way, shape, or form, but just to show how powerful these volume profiles can be, because I know how unbelievable it can be. It's like, oh my God, this idiot Frankie Candles, man. Like, he just keeps saying that if we break this level, it's going to pump. And it's so hard to believe when you're down here at these lower prices, but that is the biggest time. That is the best time to start really paying attention, especially when you have money flow coming up, and you know that once you flip that level, you're very likely to get the rotation. When money flow is confluent with that, you mark out any of these other 2-day money flow crossovers, even this one, we had already almost gotten the rotation, but once that crossover happens, continuation to the upside, and more clearly over here. 2-day money flow crossover, get into the range. You're already looking for a full rotation of the range based off the profile, and then that money flow is just coming in. It's just coming in and giving you that extra confidence that you're going to get that big move up. These 2-day money flow crossovers don't happen all the time, right? This one happened all the way in December. The next one happened all the way in November, and then this one took up until June to actually happen, right? So when they do happen, although they do come very infrequently, they are typically very, very strong moves, as you can see here, right? So beautiful. We can finally say value area low to the POC to the value area high. We haven't tapped it just yet, but we're pretty much there. There's your full rotation. Whew, validating, because every time we make a call like that, guys, there is a chance that I'm wrong, and it is always very refreshing when we're not wrong, and it's like, okay, I'm not crazy, I swear, guys, I've never been crazy. But anyway, other than that, guys, just, be careful of the resistance. Once we break out here, I would say, to be quite honest, like once you break above, break out of this value area high. You have this 786 here that we've obviously already come up and rejected. So I would say even just breaking this value area high could be a very, very bullish sign for Ethereum, looking to push into new all-time highs, where I will be targeting between about 5,800 and 7,333. This is the next major zone to the upside, so make sure you have it marked off on your chart. If we break into new all-time highs, this is the zone I would be looking to come into. I'm not going to say it has to happen today, tomorrow, or next week, right? You could get pullbacks, but at the end of the day, once you finally get out of here, just like it's likely to go from the value area low to the value area high once you get accepted in, as long as money flow stays strong, once we break out of here, I will be looking to come up to these extension levels. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on Ethereum. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin dominance, which has been continuing to get the drop to the downside here, guys, in all of its glory. Look at that. We've gotten the push into almost that 786 perfectly. We started getting the big drop down. We had the POC, which did act as some low time frame support. Come on, TradingView, take a sip of the Aztec and Cactus Moss Water. And we have a very big thing happening here on dominance, guys, as well. But we came down to the POC. We got a little bit of turbulence. And then once we lose that POC, you get that continuation down, making that next target to come down here towards the value area low. And if you've been here for quite some time, guys, this is right on track of what we want to see. To see the altcoins continue to pump, right? So finally getting that drop towards the value area low. Next big key level on dominance, in my opinion, will be about 61%, 60.95%. Sure, we could bing bong around there, but there is one thing popping up on this chart that makes me feel pretty good, guys. I'm not going to lie. Let's just zoom in on this daily money flow real quick. Oh, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Money flow crossing into the red on the daily, guys. And, not going to lie, I thought this was what my alert was set for a potential alt season incoming, but I never got the alert, so maybe I had some other condition met there. But daily money flow crossing into the red, and as you guys know, anytime we see that money flow cross into the red, obviously, even back here, you got a big drop in dominance, but, back here, in 2021, as we approach that value area low, we bing-bonged around between the POC and the value area low, but that money flow was crossing over into the red, indicating the trend would likely continue to the downside. And then once you lose that value area low, there goes dominance, and obviously altcoins were doing that. So very, very nice to see. Daily money flow crossing over into the red on dominance. Very nice. Continuing to pull back from the POC. This is what we want to see. And, once we break that value area low, as long as we can keep that money flow in the red, again, doesn't mean you can't bounce and get little corrections, but the overall downtrend is more likely to continue until this money flow comes back into the green. So at this point, this is a pretty big development on Bitcoin dominance. Very nice to see. And, it goes right along with our longer-term sentiment. Off the macroeconomic situation here with the rate cuts potentially coming down the line, we seem to be lining right up to where we want to be here, guys, to see this cycle finally finish up in that explosive way that we hope for. So there we go. There's dominance. And then total 3, obviously, if we take a look at this, we looked at this yesterday as well. And look at that, guys. We looked at this yesterday saying getting above this key level. This has been the key level ever since we broke down over here in February, right? We lost that value area low. Look for the continuation down. We get the retracement into the value area low. This has been a key level we've been watching ever since February. And we have reclaimed, finally, back into this range. What is the highest probability to see that push through the volume profile, targeting the POC and the value area high, which would be what? Very good for altcoins. Very high probability that you get that push up through the range, and here we are well on our way as we see Ethereum starting to pop, as we see XRP continuing to pop. Taking a look here at Solana real quick, right? Still trying to escape at 786 here. That is that doorway to our value area low on Solana at about 183.87. Get above that value area low, just like, right? Like, are you guys starting to see a little bit of a pattern here, right? When Total 3 got on top of its value area low, you start cooking through the profile. I will be anticipating the same exact thing here on the Solana chart. Once we are able to stay above this 786, next target becomes 183.91, and then once we flip that, guys, things could get very exciting for Solana, targeting the point of control at 216.90. Same target we've been looking at for quite some time, right? But we just got to let that price action develop, and we are starting to get that pop above the 786. That is very nice. This is the full 786 from the high to the low. So that is the level. If you're looking for a rejection on Solana, right, you would be expecting the pullback from the 786. I mean, if you're still looking for a pullback, right, you're looking to, get back down below that 786 and reject. Because once you get above this, that idea of the lower high is going to be invalidated, and we can look for continuations up. And again, just looking at the uptrend here, we have the low, the higher low right on the golden pocket. We have been talking about seeing the break of structure to the upside, which targets the value area low and beyond, which goes along with that same plan I just explained. So not too shabby, right? We were even looking at a little bit of a head and shoulders here before the breakout, right? With the measured technical target pushing you into that volume profile, right? So just right on track here. Absolutely beautiful. Come on, Solana. Keep pumping, baby. Keep pumping. Taking a look at Market Cipher B, you do have a little bit of a potential 12-hour bearish divergence printing. So again, if you did lose this and start closing high time frame candles below here, maybe you can get the rejection, but looks like we're trying to fight on top of this, right? So I am not going to short that strength, to be quite honest with you. So there we go. You don't have the fresh 16-hour green dot. You don't have the fresh 12-hour red dot. Daily money flow now crossing into the green. This is obviously another bullish sign, right? Doesn't mean you can't pull back, but it would indicate that you are looking for higher lows and higher highs locally here based off that daily money flow, right? So as long as that money flows in the green, trend is very likely to continue to the upside. Very bullish on a lot of this stuff, guys. Not just based off me, hoping for alt season, right? Looking at the dominance, looking at Total 3, understanding how these prices move, and just looking at the each individual altcoin chart, right? And we've noticed this ever since that 2-day money flow started curling back to the upside here, right? So it's not just that you're bullish now, right? We were bullish all the way down here, looking for that bounce off the golden pocket value area low. And this is what you want to pay attention to get into those moves, potentially buy the dip, hold some spot Solana before the continuation to the upside. Doesn't mean you're necessarily too late at all to buy Solana, but obviously, understanding the structure here is very important to understand when you should be getting scared and when you should be looking to buy the dip. So there you go, right? Just watch out, 786 is the key level to hold at 174.64. Hold that, pushing up towards that value area low, and potentially cooking through that range. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Valerie. Said aloha, Frankie. Shout out to Valerie. Welcome in. Good to see you in here. More timer. Shout out Valerie. Let's go. Let's go. Airwave wants to see render. Yes, I'm going to take a look at Cardano. Did Frankie XRP yet? Yeah, we did take a quick look at XRP, I guess, because, obviously XRP is on the thumbnail. We will talk about this. I covered it a little bit in the beginning of the stream, but obviously here, guys, I'm not going to cover the whole thing. Obviously, value area low, value area high, very high probability move through that range. And then comparing that to the fractal that I pulled just a little while ago, again, it's just, we bring this stuff up every single day. And if you were even to, let me pull up a clean chart here on XRP real quick, because if we actually look at this, right, if you were to just draw this as like a traditional bull pennant, right, we'll just draw it something like this, and then we'll grab that flagpole, bada boom, right? If you want to draw this as like a macro bull pennant, gives you a target of about $15. I am not necessarily waiting for $15, to be quite honest with you. I mean, if we drop it to the bottom of here, what does it bring you? Like $14. I do have upper targets in that area. I can't promise you you're going to get all the way up there. But obviously, like we talk about this all the time, right? XRP likes to just bull pennant out. Sometimes you get stuck in those long-term ranges, exactly like this fractal, right? And those long-term ranges, this keeps disappearing. But those long-term kind of consolidation ranges, right, especially with where we are in the cycle right now, have historically, led to very, very big moves to the upside. And, the fact that we're even getting this big continuation up, like where we are right now, it's like, hey, are we going to see this play out like right now? Like, is this just going to call the move? This is not how I typically trade, but it's not impossible for this to just follow the fractal. Again, not meaning that it has to come up to $23, right? But just trying to get the like general timing of this, right? And it's not just the timing of it. It's not just that it looks like the fractal. It's also the fact that just looking at the just raw information, the TA on the chart, the 2-day money flow crossover was happening all the way back here, right? Before the big move up. This is the big signal on altcoins. If you are looking at an altcoin and you have not gotten a 2-day money flow crossover into the green, you may be early before it pops to the upside. Warning! Look for those 2-day money flow crossovers because it could absolutely call that move, right? Back above the value area low, looking to go into the POC and the high. 2-day money flow was confluent, and with that money flow crossing into the green, that is the best opportunity that you have to get a big breakout of that range. And we are now sitting here. We had our local level of resistance sitting between these 2 daily MPOCs and the Fibonacci zone between about 308 and 317, right? We came up, we got a little hit our head there for just a second, broke out, retested the daily MPOC, and now we have cooked into that value area high, into that top of the Fibonacci level at 352. I think we even said yesterday, like, are we going to see XRP at 352 soon? Here we are, right? If we wind up breaking out of this range as well, if we're just going to continue on a tear here, right, I would just say the next target to look for on a new all-time high would be between about 418 and 453 for XRP. Doesn't mean it has to happen right this second. Like I said, if you can get some kind of a retracement down, right, there are going to be key levels of support to look at. But at the end of the day, daily green dot is printing. Daily money flows crossed over into the green. All of this says trend to the upside regardless of pullbacks, right? I would be looking for higher lows and higher highs in general if we get a pullback. If not, we might be able to Lambo candle right through this thing into our next Fibonacci target. So there we go. Daily green dot printing. 90-minute money flow has been thick boy in the green here. Actually was coming out a little bit, looking like we could have got a correction, but you never got that crossover into the red, in which case you never got that push to the downside. And I will just show this because this does pop up a lot, guys. I talk a lot about these rounded bottoms that we have. This kind of formation oftentimes forms when we are about, for whatever reason, right? Crypto likes to roar into new all-time highs. And a lot of time, though, like, keep an eye out for these clean little rounded bottom structures. And a lot of them will look like this, like a perfect rounded bottom with one spike to the downside. This is very similar. I've called this out on couple of different moves on Bitcoin. I wish I could remember exactly where they were. I don't want to spend like a ton of time trying to find them. But maybe it was like all the way back. I'm not going to spend a ton of time looking for it, but oftentimes you will see those rounded bottoms result in new all-time highs. Maybe it was like right down here, right? Like kind of the same thing here, that rounded bottom, like just perfectly rounded here. And I was looking at this, right, and it's like more often than not, it does roar into much higher prices when you see those rounded bottoms. And XRP was just a perfect example of that. I wish I knew exactly where it was on Bitcoin because this is like specifically the rounded bottom with this like last little dip to the downside is usually the lower end of a big divergence, right? So if you come onto the daily here, you could see this, right? Obviously, you have that rounded bottom, but that little dip down, that one spike to the downside you have is usually the lower low on a high time frame bullish divergence, right? And then you go, boom, continue to the upside, and you roar into ripping above the highs. And here we did. We cracked that high, cracked this high, and now we're sitting at resistance. So next target to the upside for XRP I will be looking at is going to be between 418 and 453. But just be careful. If we do get pullbacks, I am not going to be scared here. I think it's a very low probability, although obviously not impossible. If we did get a pullback, right, very high probability of higher lows and higher highs, and a big, big level to look at. I'm not saying you have to come down here, but that value area high at 260 is going to be the biggest level to watch in my opinion, because if you want to come back, retest the range, that's fine. But you really don't want to start losing the POC. If you start losing that POC, you might be looking at some lower prices, but I just don't see that being the highest probability case, right? You have a golden pocket just underneath here. Technically, you have the 786 sitting at 225, but again, you might not even get that retracement. But if you do, value area high, golden pocket sitting at about 253, and then like the last level of defense would be that 786, in my opinion, at 225. So there you go. Other than that, very bullish here, long-term for XRP, even if you have to go for a little bit more of a retracement. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on XRP. Let me come in and check in on chat. Doge long-term is the roundest bottom of them all. Shout out to Screwdriver. Maybe we'll take a look at Dogecoin in a second here. Let's see. Yo, shout out to the clapper of cheeks, bro. Thank you for the super chat, man. Well used. One of the better uses of a super chat there. I've always looked out for a round. I'm always on the lookout for a rounded bottom. Shout out to the clapper of cheeks. Be careful, because if you got a round bottom, watch out for the clapper. But anyway, let's continue on here. Any bearish signals on ETH? Yeah, let me actually talk about this a little bit, because I was actually looking at this before I went live here. I mean, listen, as we push into these levels, again, guys, like, obviously long term, and just to kind of walk you through this and explain this, obviously, we looked for this move up on Ethereum, right? But it's a long-term move, right? There's a lot of noise within the profile. Obviously, when you break above the low, you expect to go to the POC. Once you flip the POC, you expect to go to the high. But as I say every single time, it's very unlikely that you're just going to get a clean, like, rip above, flip to support, straight up to the value area high. Very often, you get a lot of turbulence. Here we had like 62 days of just sideways price action, one fake out to the downside, and then you finally get that rotation. And that's what I mean by, like, there is a lot of noise, and it is very confusing on the journey to the value area high sometimes, but the overall expectation is higher prices. It's the same thing right now, right? I would be anticipating eventually Ethereum to break out of here and put in new all-time highs, as we've been talking about ever since Ethereum was down here, right? Talking about how I don't think Ethereum is dead. I think it is a super low probability that Ethereum doesn't make a new all-time high this cycle, right? Which is obvious. You know, if you've been in crypto, it's a pretty easy argument to make, or pretty easy bet to take. But you know, again, I would expect a breakout here at some point to push into new all-time highs. But when you start looking at the lower time frames, it's like, all right, well, what do we have going on here, right? You do have your higher highs on your price action into a key level of resistance. And don't forget, you still have an untapped value area high here at about 35, 34. But you have higher high, higher high, higher high, right? And your momentum is slowly trending to the downside. So you do have kind of like 3 drives of potential bearish divergence looking to form here on the 1 hour. It's not forming. It's not printed just yet. Obviously, if we keep cooking, this could invalidate. But, you know, if we wind up putting that red dot in, you get that 3 drive of bearish divergence, right? Maybe you get a little bit of a pullback, right? But again, I would not be, even if it's a big pullback here, I would still be anticipating a long-term continuation up. And you might ask yourself, like, why? Why sometimes are you looking for giga shorts up here? Because a lot of the times, right, people are very bullish, and I have to come in here and be like, well, guys, I'm actually looking to short this because I think we're going down. When we're in a situation where I'm looking for those massive shorts, it is typically in an environment where we have money flow coming to the downside, right? Like even here on a bearish retest of the value area high, I am probably looking. Why am I not looking for a higher low and a higher high here? Well, the simple answer is look at your money flow. If the money flow indicates the longer term trend, and this money flow coming out would indicate lower highs and lower lows, why would I be looking for a higher low and a higher high, right? I would be looking for quote unquote giga shorts for a continuation down, right? But in this case, it's the opposite. You have all your money flow coming into the green. 10-hour money flow, thick boy in the green. Daily money flow starting to come back to the upside. 2-day money flow just crossed over, giving us this big move. So if we do correct, right, I have to be looking for lackluster retracements for eventual higher highs and new all-time highs, right? So could you get a pullback from these bearish divergences? Potentially. I'm going to get rid of this daily MPOC because it's tapped. But, you know, you are also coming in. Yeah, I mean, you're at resistance, right? Let's pull up like something like an 80-minute. Yeah, I mean, you do have some bearish divergences up in here as well. Let me check a low time frame. Just check the 4-hour. Yeah, I mean, if you do have some kind of bearish divergences potentially looking to print, again, they're not just there yet, but not something that I'd be looking to giga short, right? Could you catch some scalps to the downside? Sure. Could it turn into a nice swing? Yes, but at the end of the day, I would probably be looking for higher lows and higher highs. Where would I be looking? Well, if we take a look here, let me hide this Fibonacci retracement, right? If you do kind of get a rejection there, I would be looking at, this would be a significant, yeah, just I'll pull it from this impulse here, right? 3150, right? This is not only a golden pocket retracement when pulled from the impulse to the high, 3150. This was also one of our macro targets, right? Between 3,000 and 3,150, right? And that was a big level that we broke that was holding us back from the value area high. So now that we've broken it, if you do come back down, test that golden pocket 786, maybe that's where the higher low comes in at, right? You'd have to assess the situation as you pull back there, if you pull back there. But again, long term, I'd be looking for higher lows and higher highs. So you do have some bearish divergences forming potentially. They're not confirmed yet. But yeah, I would just look at that as turbulence before a bigger continuation up. Even if that, you know, if we pulled back down to that 3150 level, right? Like that's a 8% dump, right? People are going to think that's super bearish, but you have to understand the longer term context here. The higher time frame money flow is definitely still looking good. 3-day money flow also getting close to crossing into the green, just like we looked at that 2-day money flow crossover as a big sign to continue the trend. Low, high, higher, low, higher, high, breaking structure to the upside here, right? The 3-day money flow could be that next big signal to look at. Maybe that 2-day red dot prints. Maybe you get a little correction. But once that 3-day money flow crosses into the green, I do see it being much more bullish long term. Like even if you had to come back down and retest the top of this range into the daily MPOC at about 27.57, right? This is still an area where you could put a higher low and a higher high in at. Now, and again, I know it's a little confusing, right? Because you would say if you're looking for a dump from the value area high, wouldn't you look to go to the POC and then the value area low? Well, yes, but money flow is pointing against that right now, right? So the environment right now, you would have to be aware that higher lows and higher highs, you're not just going to be able to short every value area high and guarantee the value area low. The only reason why this rotation was high probability was because we had money flow on our side. Right? If money flow was coming out right now on the higher time frames, I'd be looking for shorts to absolutely send that thing to zero. But that is not the case right now, in my personal opinion. So there we go. Let's see. Shout out to Ganja Nerd, I think is what that says. I can't read it. It's cut off. I'm pretty sure that's what it says. But it says, Frankie, my dude, I appreciate all I've learned from you over the past years. I've followed you, Evan. Even followed you before you owned your channel. The skill set you've given me has made me well over 350K over the years. Much love. Bing bong. Shout out to you, man. I only got 20s left here, but we're going to throw some money for you, bro. Shout out to Ganja Nerd. Let's go, baby. 350K over the past couple years. Ain't that bad, bro. And the fact that I was able to help you out in any way, shape, or form to make that money is truly fulfilling to me. This is why I enjoy doing this so much. It's like seeing super chats like that or just people in the chat talking about that. It is my absolute favorite thing to do. So shout out to Ganja Nerd. Congratulations. And good work, bro. You did it. I'm only giving you the information, and you're the one that's putting it to use. You're paying attention. You're taking notes. You're putting it into effect, and you're making that money. Let's go, baby. Drop some love for Ganja Nerd in the chat. Frankie for president. Shout out to Crypto Al. Whoa. Shout out to Crypto Al. I'm not going to lie, guys. I don't want that job. I do not want that job. Oh, God. If they could offer me whatever the salary they want. They'd be like, here's $1 billion, Frankie. Be the president of the United States. I'd be like, I'm good. I'm going to keep trading. I don't need your money. Leave me alone. I don't want those problems. I'm glad I don't have to deal with any of that. Let's see. There we go. Showing some love to Ganja Nerd. I love it. And, yo, shout out to – hang on one sec, guys. Let me pull up. We're going to take a look at Curve. We're going to take a look at Sui. And we're also going to take a look at Cardano. But real quick, guys, I want to bring something up. And I bring this up because they asked us to share it. I believe it was Crypto Edge. Let me see. I think I have the screenshot here. Let me see. Bada boom, bada bing. So let me actually just bring this up because just to give a little bit of motivation, right? So let me just pull this up real quick. Shout out to Crypto Edge. He sent this to Tony D and asked me to share it with you guys. Shout out to Crypto Edge. He said, hey, Tony, I'm never awake for the live stream, so I don't get to chat with Frankie in the live. Would love for him to see my swing trade on XRP and him share it with the Mafia on live. I think it would be cool. I doubt many have seen 100,000% 10x trade on XRP. So shout out to Crypto Edge. I know you're probably not in here because apparently you're probably sleeping. But shout out to Crypto Edge, bro. Good work. And I think this is very nice, right? Because it just shows, right? Like this stuff is possible. It's not just, luck of the draw. And if you put what we teach here to effect and actually put it into your actual plan, and you understand how the volume profiles work, the Fibonacci, the market structure, everything like that. If you understand that, you can make money like this, guys. And we don't see a dollar amount here, but 100,000% is pretty crazy. I don't think I've ever even had 100,000% trade. That's pretty nuts. So shout out to Crypto Edge. Congratulations to you. Ganja Nerd made me think of that because he had a huge win as well. So absolutely insane. Lasers Go Pew Pew says Frankie teaches how to make money all year. Noobs should be in here like gang gang. Shout out to Lasers Go Pew Pew. Yeah, we are not a slave to the bull market, guys. Just like we make money in a bull market, we can make money in that bear market, shorten the way to the downside. We are full-time crypto, not only bull cycle crypto. But anyway, let's continue on here and take a look at Cardano real quick as we're getting that push to the upside here, guys, through our local profile. As you guys know, we cover this. We cover these charts every single day. Literally every single day. Here. And during the boring days, it's like, hey, guys, we're here. And then the next day, we're like, okay, guys, we're here. But as you guys know, right, we deviated below this macro volume profile. We got back into the value area low. What does that mean? And I know this sounds repetitive, guys, but it's very important because if you're looking at a chart right now and there's a coin approaching its value area low and you don't think that coin's going to zero, chances of reclaiming that low in these market conditions and getting full fills of the volume profile, in my opinion, are very, very high. Not financial advice, but you guys, not only based off what I say, but based off what we look at and seeing it play out. This market environment right now If you have an altcoin approaching the value area low and you are getting above it, chances are you are very likely going to fill that range in full. All the way back here, we got the drop down in June below the volume profile. We reclaimed. Once you hold above that value area low, the next target for price is the POC. You cling to the POC as it is the strongest magnet within the profile. We have the golden pocket 786 here, meaning that this line in the sand is the 786 at 78 cents. Once you break above that 786, you're looking to crack that structure to the upside, guys, meaning crack this high right here, which would lead you into your next target, which is the value area high of the range. Yes, we have a daily MPOC. Yes, we have a daily MPOC. This could give you turbulence, but at the end of the day, guys, we are right on track with almost every single coin we've ever looked at here, flipping the value area lows and looking for the continuations through the profiles, right? So at this point, long-term for Cardano, I'm looking for $1 almost, right, at the value area high. We're already above the POC, and we're breaking above this 786, and this 786 is pulled from this high to the low. So again, once you hold this, which we are, we've already, if we zoom in here just a little bit, you can see break above, flip it to support. At this point, we can look for a break of structure to the upside, which would make the next local target 87 cents, break above that 94 cents, and then again, it is all in the longer term trend to the value area high at $1. Once you crack that dollar level, we're looking into potentially, well, let me zoom out a little bit more. We have another macro volume profile up here, which is very confluent with the value area high of the current range. And then once we get back up to that value area high and we can break out, guys, we are very likely going to get accepted into the next volume profile, which the value area low sits at about $1, right? So break out of the value area high. You're also breaking into your value area low. Hold that as support. POC at $1.22. Flip it to support. Value area high at $1.85. And then potentially send it into the highs. Not saying it has to go to $6, but maybe I'll drop a, we got some altcoin requests for some standalone pre-recorded altcoin videos. Maybe I'll do a Cardano video where I'll go over my kind of long-term plan, new all-time high targets, etc. But right now, guys, it's not looking too shabby. Hopefully, you guys take these, and again, this is not just me being some kind of like crazy permabull or anything like that. This is all based off of actual information, actual TA, sound TA, right? But from a little bit of a simpler standpoint, right? Other than that local profile, this is the next place that we want to break above. You can see the last time we got the approach of the value area low POC, rejected the POC, came back down. At this point, you still have your low, your high, your higher low, higher high, higher low. You could look for that breakage structure into the value area high. $1.83. Not too shabby. And even if you pull this as like a bear market range, what do we have happen here? Very simple, right? I don't just like to look at like, oh my God, this is going to go up to this target. I like to show you guys how and why this happens. Breakout. Once you break out of this range, price is going to seek out the previous area of fair value, meaning the value area low, and more specifically the POC being the biggest, highest volume node within the range. We got the rejection last time, but what was happening last time? I mean, look at just here on the 5-day. As you were approaching that, what was happening? Your money flow was in the red. Your money flow was in the red. This is not what you want to see for a continuation of the upside. This would indicate a big dump, right? So, but now you have money flow starting to come back up on these low, higher daily time frames. 3-day money flow coming up. 2-day money flow finally just starting to cross over into the red. This is a big signal on Cardano. Massive, massive signal for a massive, massive run. I'm just going to leave that right there. Last 2-day money flow crossover we had. Look at that. It was right as we were approaching this POC. Got the money flow crossover. Big trend into the next value area. Very similar situation here. And what happened, right? When we got the pullback, what do we get? Retest of the range high. Retest of the range high. Retest of the range high. This is very similar to what I was talking about on XRP. Right? If XRP wants to go for a bigger pullback, even on Bitcoin as well at that $112,000 to $110,000 zone, right? If you want to go for a pullback, sometimes it does make sense to retest the scene of the crime, meaning the area of the breakout. All right, so I'm not saying you have to go down there, but if you did, right, we're probably going to see something happen like that if we don't just come up from where we are. But that's why I always talk about those range highs as key levels, right? Because it's like what happens very, very often. This is a perfect example of that, right? You just come back down, retest the high of the range, and then you find support, and you get the move up. And if we pull our Fibonacci retracement from the low to the high, this was also confluent with your 786 Fibonacci retracement. Why is that important? Well, because if you're going to be looking for a macro higher low and a macro higher high, meaning targeting the value area high, you would be looking for that to come in at the golden pocket or 786. And with the 786 confluent with that value area high, that was a beautiful place to bounce. So that's my analysis here on Cardano. Hopefully we can see this thing break into that upper volume profile. I know it seems like, oh my God, I missed the move, right? But, you know, contextually here, you're still 263% off the highs, right? So still some opportunity there. I'll leave that there. All right, let's continue on here. That is, shout out to Crypt. Shout out to Paper Pete's Rock says, anybody trading Cardano needs to be on a list, according to Alex Becker. Yes, I know Alex Becker likes to clown on Cardano holders. He's funny. But yeah, shout out to Alex Becker. All right, let's see. Shout out to Airwave says, Frankie Candles, how do I know which zone is best to pull my volume profile from? I know how to pull these. I know how to pull it, but there's always so many zones I can pull it from, but can never decide which zone. Well, if you check the beginner series, Airwaves, if you check the beginner series, I have videos on the volume profiles, where to pull them from, etc. But at the end of the day, all I'm doing with these volume profiles are marking out areas of balance within the market, right? And by areas of balance, I just mean where buyers and sellers agree on a range of price. When it dips below the range, it's undervalued. It gets bought back up. When it comes above the range, that's overvalued. It gets sold back in. Back to the low, it's cheap. It gets bought back up. Above the high, it's now expensive. It gets sold back down. And obviously, it's not going to range around forever. Eventually, you're going to get a big breakdown or a big break up, and that's where money flow comes into account, right? You can see money flow is crossing into the red here, so you would be thinking, well, hey, we're not getting the breakout here. Money flow is coming out, and then once you get back into the range, you're looking to go to the POC and the value area low, and at that point, your money flow's in the red, indicating lower highs and lower lows, meaning you're probably going to break to the downside out of that range. And then to find the next area of balance, all you're going to do, I can't pull it here because we kind of just created new balance, but all I do is just mark out where we have those ranges at. And it is a little bit more involved than that, but if you watch the tutorial, I go a little deeper into where to pull them from. But all you're doing is pulling them on areas of balance, right? It doesn't always have to be a perfect range. Like even here, right? I can pull this like this, right? And I can say, well, hey, you have a low, 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 high, high. Maybe we're going to continue up towards that value area high. So you're just marking out those areas of balance. And then when price imbalances, right? Price ranges 80% of the time. Here's a quick little lesson. Price ranges about 80% of the time. The rest of the time, it is impulsing or imbalancing, aka trending, right? Price is always gravitated towards balance. That's why, right, if you get a big drop down, you start to range around down here. When you imbalance out of this range, price is very likely, when you impulse out of this range and break out, it is very likely that price is going to seek out fair value. Remember, price always seeks fair value. Inside of these big trends are typically low volume gaps. Inside the ranges, you'll have high volume nodes, right, with your POC in the middle, right? Your POC will be in the middle of the range. And then in these big drops, typically you have a big fall off in volume until you have that next high volume node. So what happens is when you break down out of this range, you fall through that low volume gap and get gravitated towards this high area of volume, which is typically where there's a volume profile, right? So when you imbalance out of here, you're saying, well, hey, I have a huge low volume gap here. I had a quick move down, could lead to a quick move up. And I know if it imbalances out of this range, we're going to get attracted to the last high volume node, aka the previous volume profile, aka the previous fair value, and price will naturally gravitate towards this level. And then once you break into the range, then you have a high probability of getting accepted back in, rotating to the POC and the value area high. So you're just marking out the areas where you have basically have ranges, right? You're just looking for where the fair value is. So when I mark it out here on a Cardano, like even down here, you could pull this as a little bit of a range. You have your low, your high, your low, your high, and then you impulse, right? And then once we break down here, right? And for example, I mean, we're just probably going to see this happen, right? In this current example, once we break out of this range, what happens? You push into the POC. You didn't get acceptance. You came back down. But once we break back in there, again, price is going to seek that fair value. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, check out the beginner series for sure. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. I was like number 402. Shout out to Dr. Crimson's girlfriend. Welcome in. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. We're going for 1,000 tonight. If we get 1,000, I'll give away $200 in Solana on tomorrow night's live stream. Say that 5 times fast. But that's what I'm looking at on Cardano. Let's go ahead and jump on into CRV and see what we got going on. Let's see. Do I have a chart here on CRV? We must. Yeah, okay. So here we are. Is it? Yeah, I think this is our level, our chart. So here we are. Whoops. I don't remember I don't have any fibs here to base when the last time we looked at this was. Excuse me. But here is your value area low and your POC sitting very close to the bottom of the range. That means that this is your key doorway to higher prices, getting above that point of control. And then once you get above that point of control, I mean, here's the profile. Value area high sitting up here at about $1.11. We're already almost there. You have 2 daily levels here, so you do have local resistance. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing on the altcoins for almost all altcoins. 2-day money flow crossed over into the green all the way here, right? All the way back here. And you might say to yourself, but Frankie, but price was going down. Why would you even pay attention to the money flow? It was wrong. Because money flow indicates the trend, not the ebbs and flows, right? You had a 2-day red dot here. You get a little push to the downside, but money flow being in the green would indicate higher lows and higher highs. Pull your fib from the low to the high. And when you're looking at this, before price even comes to this level, you're saying to yourself, okay, money flow is coming up. I know that that doesn't mean you're just going to moonshot, right? We come into resistance, we get a rejection. Once you start pulling back, you say to yourself, okay, money flow on the 2-day is coming back into the green. I see that. What does that mean? It means the probability of higher lows and higher highs are likely, breaking structure to the upside. Low, high, higher low, higher high. And when you already have the level on the chart that you're looking at for a higher low, and as you push into that level, you have money flow crossing into the green, you would say to yourself, well, hey, if we can get local confirmation down here to get a bounce, long term, it may lead to the continuation of the uptrend with the low, the high, the higher low, and the breakage structure of the upside leading you into the next area of balance, which was sitting right up here. When you start viewing the market like this, it becomes crystal clear. It's like X-ray vision into the market and where those magnetic points are. You want to find the magnets and look to trade towards them, right? And then when you get to the magnets, right, some of the magnets are key levels of resistance. When you get to that magnet, if you have money flow coming out, bearish confirmations, you could look for a short position back down. But at this point, 2-day money flow crossover into the green, you're just seeing the continuation of the trend as you would expect. And you might say to yourself, well, how do you know you're going to bounce here? I'll be honest, I don't know right this second, but I can come down here and say there's probably some kind of signal, maybe a daily bull div. There it is, right? Lower low on price action, higher low on your momentum waves. That is the daily bullish divergence into a key zone of support. You start coming up, reclaim the golden pocket, money flow starts curving back up. There you go. So I would say right now the biggest key levels to watch out for on curve is going to be, I'm going to keep this monthly on the chart because you may, if you do come down, that would be a key level to hold that support. But yeah, I mean, you're coming into daily resistance here, but at the end of the day, value area low. Your POC is like kind of right at the value area low, so those are kind of just 2 of the same level. But you get above that POC value area low, you're looking to eventually continue into that value area high. Local support, if you do get a pullback, in my opinion, I would come on down to the 4-hour. And let's pull some levels here. Let me see if we have any new daily MPOCs. Bada boom. So you do have a daily MPOC down here. I don't know if you're going to get all the way down there. But you do have one right here. You do have one right down here. Right? That is about it for the dailies. Let me see if you have a weekly anywhere. This is a daily plus weekly MPOC. So that's a big, big level. Not that you have to come back down there, but it's worth knowing it's there. And no monthly MPOC, at least a relevant one. So yeah, I mean, I would have to just look at local levels here at this point. I would say at the end of the day, flipping this monthly into support would be big. If you do come back down, I would not want to lose this level. Once you lose this, I'd be looking down towards the value area low, which is going to be, let me just mark this out. This is now support, right? Key resistance now becomes support. This is definitely the big level you don't want to lose, right? You have the daily MPOC, you have the daily and the weekly down here. Again, I'm not saying you have to come all the way down there, but again, you're just within your range, right? So you get above the low. If you have to come back down towards the POC, technically it's very close to the low, so maybe you do something like that in a more bearish scenario. But at the end of the day, as long as you stay within this range, right, you could even maybe just hold that monthly and continue up if you're not just going to rip up from here. So yeah, I would say the monthly sitting here at about 89 cents would be your first big key level of support. Let's come on down to a lower time frame. I'll pull a fib from this to the high. Yeah, you have a little bit of a golden pocket confluent with that level as well. Let me get rid of these MPOCs. So yeah, I mean, I would say this is a pretty big zone of support. If you do come back down, you would hope to hold this. Once you lose this, I'm just looking down towards the POC value area low. This level sits between 90 and 85 cents. So there you go. If you don't just cook to the upside, if you do, value area high at about $1.12 is going to be the key level. If you come down first, I'd be watching right down here. Long term, same thing as all the other altcoins, 2-day money flow crossover, continuation up is likely, whether you come down here or down here. So there you go. That's what I would look at on curve. Zooming out on the higher time frames. Also, just to kind of put this into perspective here, guys, still I wouldn't say you missed the boat. If you think this thing's going back up to all-time highs, you were still 640% about off the all-time high, right? So I wouldn't say, again, at some point, if the alts are going to continue to rip like we would think in an alt season that we're going to likely have very soon, again, not just based off calling for alt season randomly, looking at the dominance, looking at total 3, understanding the rotations of these volume profiles, a lot of opportunity here, a lot of opportunity. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on CRV. Also, weekly money flow crossover would be like the mothership, or I don't know, the mother of all bullish signals, right? That weekly money flow crossover is typically what puts Bitcoin into the bull markets, right? And crossing over into the red is what puts them into the bear markets. Money flow crossover on the weekly, bear market. We see this happen constantly. Weekly money flow crossover, continuation into the bear market. Money flow crossover into the green, the bottom's in, and you continue up. Money flow crossover into the green. Okay, calm down, trading view. Money flow crossover into the green, bottom's in, continuation up. So, weekly money flow crossover, honorable mention, higher time frame signal to look for. Chances are when you get that weekly money flow crossover, especially on something like Curve, right, by the time that's happening, right, it's not like, price probably isn't just going to stick around down here until that weekly money flow crossover, right? We might get a big move up off the 2-day, 3-day money flow crossovers, and then eventually the weekly comes in and really sends you off. So that's what I'm looking at on Curve. Nice little pop to the upside here for CRV. All right, let's see. Shout out to Joe Morse. It's Frankie Holdley. I'm scared. I didn't put my seatbelt on before takeoff. I'm scared. Let's go. We're going to the moon. It's okay. There's no gravity on the moon, so we'll be good. I don't think the impact will be that bad. All right, let's see. Bonk, yes, we could take a look at Bonk. We took a look at Bonk yesterday. Did Render get a money flow crossover? Let's check out Render real quick. Actually, I do have a Render chart here. Bada boom. Yeah, and again, right, like just looking at Render here, I know sometimes, I'll be honest, right, like if we are going to enter this parabolic alt season, right, at some point soon, understand this. Sometimes you have to act fast. This is not financial advice. I don't want to create FOMO. I don't want people to panic, right? But when this thing gets going, it's going to happen very quickly, right? I'll be honest, like for me personally, right, I own Render. Like if I was looking to add to my Render bag, I just don't know how much lower this would go. Even if we get another big pullback, I just don't know how much lower it's going to go, right? So at the end of the day, when these things get going, they get going very, very quickly. So sometimes you have to be very proactive, right? Because if this thing starts like Lambo candling up, it's like, oh my God, now I feel like I missed the move, right? You don't want to be in that position. So we're still below the macro volume profile, and I'll tell you this right now. I'm going to take off the daily MPOCs. I'll take off the weekly MPOCs. You do have a golden pocket 786 retracement right on the point of control of this range. I'm just going to tell you this right now. If we get above this value area low, just like Ethereum, very high probability that this range gets filled in full. I don't want to create FOMO. This is not financial advice. Anything you buy can go to zero. But based off what I look at, I hold Render. Once we flip this value area low, just like we saw on Ethereum, right? And I always try to bring up the past price action, guys, because I know it's hard to like trust in this stuff until it plays out. Said the same thing at the break of this $2,100 value area low. Very high probability of a fill of the range. And it gets very scary. You probably think to yourself, oh my God, I thought this was supposed to fill the range. What's going on? Right? Patience. Patience. There's the fill. Right? So just understand, when we look at something like Render, you're still below that value area low. Once we get up here, very high probability of coming into the golden pocket POC, very high probability of coming into the value area high. And then hopefully into new all-time highs. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on Render. Coming in locally here, even locally, right? We had this local golden pocket 786. We get above the 786, looking for a crack at this high into the value area low. So if we take this off the chart now, we've already broken above the 786. You're starting to reclaim anchored VWAP here. Not too shabby. Next target, $4.27. Flip this to support. That's where the fun can start. Now, obviously, you're going to have local levels up here, too, that you can bing-bong around on. But overall, we're going to start seeing these things fly. Very likely, right? 2-day. Money flow, just starting to cross over into the green here. Just starting. Right there. Last 2-day money flow crossover. Right here. Massive move up. Big boy moves. 470%. 236 from where we are right now. Big boy moves. 2-day money flow crossover. Can it fake out? Sure. Can it come back down and make a new low? Sure. But in this environment, guys, look for the reclaim. And just if you don't feel if you don't have faith in that, right, just look back at the other things that we've looked at traveling through these volume profiles. Not just price. Also total 3, right? It's not just price. People will tell you can't use volume profiles to analyze total 3. Well, we must be literally the luckiest people in the world then, right? So there you go. Volume profiles will absolutely change your life. And even if it's like you're not even preying on a crazy price prediction, right? Like the chances of this thing coming back to the value area high unless render goes to 0 is extremely high, right? And then by the time you get up here, you've already made money and you could maybe take some profit and then look to hold that moon bag into these crazy price targets that are probably going to start getting shilled online very, very soon, right? My price targets will be very realistic, right? And they may not be the best for wild thumbnails, right? I'm not going to have a thumbnail that says XRP to $10 million, right? But, my targets are probably going to be a little bit more realistic and likely to get hit, right? Not just looking for render to shoot up to $700 for just no specific reason, right? We're going to be looking at the Fibonacci extension zone. So even if you're looking for a macro golden pocket retracement here, I mean, you're looking at $9 to $11. Break above that, new all-time highs between $16 and $18 to start off, and then you can start doing some market cap calculations, etc. But yeah, I mean, just look at this simple pattern, right? Even take the fibs off the chart, right? Just like clean it up, take the anchor VWAP off the chart, screw the support that we're bouncing off of, even though it was very important at the time, right? You're just looking at this. You reclaim this, sitting at $4.28, very high probabilities. I'll leave that there. So there we go. That's what I'd be looking at on render. Shout out to anybody that holds render. I do hold render, full disclosure. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Dr. Cribs' girlfriend said, dang, it's turning into a regular CandleMafia family reunion. Let's go. If you're an OG, drop a candle in the chat. If you're an OG of the CandleMafia, let me see the candles, baby. Let's go. It's a nice part about price moving. We got all the OGs coming back. I get it. I'm not going to lie, guys. If I didn't have a YouTube channel, there'd probably be many days in a row. I mean, I'm usually trading, but it's, for like looking at all the altcoins and stuff. If I didn't go live every single day, there'd probably be a long time where I'm just kind of like trading Bitcoin and not paying attention to a lot of other stuff until it becomes the right time. Shout out to Miles G. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, God bless you. Shout out to Miles G. I appreciate you so much, bro. God bless you back. God bless you more. Shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. There's those candles, baby. Come on, OGs. Let's get it. Let's see. Let's continue on here. Algo. We can take a look at Algo. Algoy. Here we are. I really got to stop covering so much on every single live stream is really what I should do, because it's just like there's never new stuff to look at because I plan out the whole move and then we just wait till it happens. We're like, yep, this is what we looked for. And you guys also know the longer term plan now too. But let's see here. So obviously we got the breakout of that value area high, which is very, very nice to see. Let me turn on log. So we got the breakout of the value area high, obviously going to be a very, very key level. And again, rotations of volume profiles, right? And here's a perfect example. I forgot who asked about it, but you have your area of balance down here. You have an area of balance up here. When price breaks down out of this area of balance, where is price very likely to get gravitated to? Hilariously enough, towards the next value area, right? So when you impulse to the downside, indicated by the money flow crossover. If you're looking at this saying, okay, I'm long from the top, I'm short from the top, long from the bottom, short from the top, how do you know when it's going to break down? Well, look at your money flow. This daily money flow crossover right here would indicate that the continuation of the trend to the downside is likely, and breaking down out of this range is likely. So what does that make your target? For example, if you're short from the value area high, well, sure, you could look to the POC and the value area low, take some profits, move your stop loss to break even, putting you in a guaranteed winning trade. But if you see that follow through and that continuation down, where are you going to be looking for price to target? Right into that value area low. You could see you wicked directly down into it. Money flow is still in the red, and what happens? Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And what did you do here? You got accepted back into the range, and you filled the volume profile in full. Then you respect the volume profile from the low to the high, from the high to the low, from the low to the high. Uh-oh, what's happening now? Money flow is coming up. Continuation to the upside is likely. Once you break out of here, where are you expecting price to go? right towards that previous area of balance. Just like when you lose this range, you look to come down into this area of balance. When you lose this range to the upside, you look to get accepted into this area of balance. That is the roadmap for how these markets move. For free, given here on the Frank Candles live stream, and I'm happy to do it. But there we go. So yeah, value area high, doorway to higher prices. We are approaching very key levels here, guys. $3, 34 cents. Once, sure, it could be resistance, but once we get up in there, POC sitting at 41 cents, value area high sitting at 50 cents. Looking for the full fill of the range. And again, the same exact technique, pattern, strategy, whatever you want to say, same exact thing. We're just looking at it in this context for the move to the upside. Money flow looks good on the on the daily, crossing into the green. 2 days crossover into the green. I mean, at the end of the day here, these are still just like local profiles, right? Breakout here. Where are you looking? Back into this range. From the low to the POC to the high. Break out of this range. Where are you going? Well, how do we know where the balance is here? Well, look at this. It's probably coming from this range right here, right? And you did break above it a little bit, but you did have a little bit of balance there, right? It's not always going to be perfect. But I would say this is your next range to fill. Value area low sitting at 34 cents, POC at 41. Value area high at 50 cents. Break out of there. We can look to approach the bigger target here at the value area low at 77 cents. These doorways to higher prices. This is a doorway to higher prices. This is a doorway to higher prices. This is a doorway to higher prices because you get accepted into the range, fly through it. Accepted into the range, fly through it. Accepted into the range, fly through it. Again, not going to be just this like perfect, clean rip up, probably. It'll probably be very confusing and messy, but that is your overall anticipation. So that's what I would look at here locally for algo. Very nice. Look at the value area low at 34 cents. 2-day money flow crossover, very clean. This is going to move as price action continues up, but even if we came up to this value area high, I would say the big key level of support is going to be the top of the range, right? If we did get a big cool off, might come retest the scene of the crime before continuing up to higher prices. That's what I would look at here on Algorand. So there we go. 34 cents. Watch it, baby. Watch it. Let's see. Mana. Shout out to Chris. I will take a look at Mana. Shout out to Razor. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, can you check out Aptos? Yes. I'm going to check out, I will check out SEI as well. But let me take a look at Mana here because Mana, I'm not going to lie. Let's look at this from a zoomed out perspective here. She's still chilling. She's still chilling down here. Plenty of room. And still 1,700% off its all-time highs. I don't know if it's going to make new all-time highs, right? But just to show you kind of where we are in the market, this is still a coin that has not gotten a massive move up yet. It's starting to cook, though. 2-day money flow crossovers, very young. Call that a, never mind. It's a very young 2-day money flow crossover. And again, VWAP is coming down here, guys, right? Money flow indicates the overall trend. So, but this is not an environment where I would just be waiting for the 2-day money flow crossover to get the perfect entry, especially for like a spot bag or something like that, or even like a low leverage trade, right? That money flow crossover, like in this environment with dominance dropping, right, this stuff can just take off out of nowhere. So you do have to be careful, right? You could get the pullback off the 2-day red dot, but just understand these 2-day red dots in this environment don't oftentimes give you much until you start continuing up. So there you go. 2-day money flow crossover just starting to cross over into the green. Daily, just about to cross over into the green as well. This alone is a sign that you're probably going to get a continuation of the trend. Where would I be looking next for Mana? Well, let's go ahead and pull our profile here, right? So you have this major bear market volume profile. This is what I would look at, right? And again, this isn't even like anywhere near new all-time highs, but again, you do have a lot of room here to move. So I would go ahead and say you have your value area low, you have your POC sitting at about 40 cents, and your value area high sitting at about 70 cents. We got the retracement, rejection from the POC, but what happened here? Whoops. You did go ahead and you put in, the higher low. Where do you want to put in the higher low? Between the golden pocket, 786. Where did we get the bounce? From the golden pocket, 786. So we do have an opportunity to come up here and crack structure to the upside, getting above the value area low, flipping the POC, and potentially continuing up through the profile. I would not expect it to look exactly like this, right? But overall, money flow would say, could be ready for some big moves. I would say the doorway to higher prices, flip this POC at 40 cents, Very high probability. I'm very confident that you would get that push to the upside. Not financial advice. Just what I'm looking at. Not going to lie. I'm kind of low-key looking, may actually look to take a little bit of a low leverage trade here on Mana. Not a trade signal, again. But, yeah, my money flow looks good. Turbulences could be expected short term, but in terms of long-term high time frame moves here, guys, you're approaching the bing bong zone. This is the bing bong zone. Get above the doorway, bing bong, right to the high. That's what I'd be looking at, right? And just to show, right, very similar situation to down here, right? You deviate below the low. This is undervalued price. This is where you want to look for longs. Above is where you want to look for shorts, if the environment calls for it. Right? Up here, you deviate above the range, you come back down, right? You start to come back down to the bottom of the range. What would make you think you're going to lose this range? Look at your money flow here on the 2-day, crossing into the red, making it a higher probability of a continuation of the downtrend. Now we are approaching the value area low with money flow crossing up. The trend is likely to continue up based off the technicals here. And you can see the 2-day money flow crossover. I mean, almost the exact same situation here. You deviate below the low. There's your undervalued price. What happens? Money flow crosses into the green. You get one more pullback, and you get back into the range and fill it in full. So, again, it's not just an instant shot up. But, again, I don't know how much lower this stuff is going to go, right? In this current environment. I wouldn't expect it to go much lower. So, there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on Mana. Very appealing, in my opinion. Especially when you look at it in a non-log. It's just like, oh, okay. Okay, I thought I missed the boat. Right? You start to look at it like this. It's like, oh, dang. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at for Mana. Looked across that level at 40 cents. Big, big doorway to higher prices. And even if you pull up the VPVR, again, like I was explaining before on the volume profiles, right, you look for those low volume gaps, right? So within this profile, what happens? You have a high volume up here, right? Obviously high volume down here. But in the middle, right, you start to lose that volume a bit. Right? Fast move down oftentimes leads to a fast move up and a fast move down. Right? So once we get back in here, big old volume gap could lead to a fast move up. That's it. That's too much sauce. That's too much sauce. All right, let's continue on. Let's see. Shout out to Triangle. Shout out to Triangle, man. Thank you for the super chat. Said ICP, please. I will take a look at ICP. I do want to take a look at SEI real quick. And then we'll take a look at ICP. Let's take a quick look at SEI. I mean, I feel like I could just start pointing to the screen. Just like, hey, guys, look. I don't think I really have to say much other than that, right? We try to make this analysis so simple, right? Expensive, cheap. Expensive, cheap. 2-day money flow crossover into the green. 2-day money flow crossover into the green. Key level of resistance here, 34 cents. Flip that to support, guys. I do think. And again, look at your volume. Pull up the VPVR. Come on, volume. Wake up. Come on. Come on. We're fast moving here. Okay. So there you go, right? You have a high volume node here at about 45 cents. Until that, after that, pretty big gap. Fast move down, fast move up. Fast move down, fast move up, fast move down, fast move up. Probably going to cook through that low volume gap. So I would say I'm actually going to mark this out. I don't always do this, but I will mark this out as a high volume node. Whoops. All right, so you do have this high volume node sitting right here. So I would watch this at about 45, 46 cents. Once you get up there, flip it to support. Could start cooking back up to that value area high at 72 cents. Speed Tour. There we go. Starting to crack in there. It's right there. Writing's on the wall, baby. Writing's on the wall. Good morning. Shout out to XRP Belgium. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you in here. Hope you're doing well. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning. Top of the morning. Shout out to Michael S. Said, Frankie Candles, can you take a look at Vera? I know it's not a popular one, but it was at 15 cents last year. Now it's just over half a penny. Opportunity question mark. Let me go ahead and write that down. Vera. Shout out to Michael S. Yes, I will try to take a look at that for you. But first, let's take a look at SEI. That was SEI. Take a look at XLM real quick. Oh my God, XLM is cooking. She's cooking. Let me see. I think we do have a chart here in XLM. There it is. Okay. All right, so let me turn on log here again, and let's take a quick little look at this real quick. Get rid of the volume profile, and let's see here. All right, so the nose looks a bit confusing, right? Because we do have a lot of fib levels. Let me clean some of this up. What is this? This is... Okay, so I'm going to leave the support, right? Golden Pocket POC, this is still relevant. However, I don't know if you're going to get back down there. We are tapping into a key resistance level. This is a little, let me see, this is probably not organized at all. So let me just do this real quick. I'm just going to go ahead and hide this stuff and just show you guys that fib alone, right? So you have a from the high to the low here. This is resistance, right? Plain and simple. Golden Pocket 786. Full Golden Pocket 786 from the high to the low. So you are tapping into resistance. However, it's not all doom and gloom, right? Because this is now our doorway to higher prices. Flip that 786, guys. That is where I would expect the bigger breakout. Until then, you could get turbulence within this zone. This has been a pretty explosive move to the upside, and this is a pretty big level of resistance. Doesn't mean you have to pull back, but I just want you to be aware that you are coming up to a pretty significant resistance level, right? Now, if we pull up all the other TA, just to show that, this level is sitting between about 54 and 47 cents. And again, you could just pull your fib from the high to the low, and you'll get the Golden Pocket 786 there. But, and this is the same Golden Pocket 786 that's on the chart right here. I just wanted to show you guys in a little bit of a clean manner because I have these separated into two zones, but really it is a massive zone. Regardless of that, let me pull off that fib because now you guys know where that lies. Let's get rid of this box. Come on. Give me the... Give me this box. Oh, it's locked. Why is it locked? Get it off the chart. Get it off the chart. From a volume profile perspective, I would say, I mean, this thing is just like, look at that weekly candle, man. That's like wick to wick, a 96% weekly candle. Insane. But if you can get and hold above this resistance level, which is the value area low sitting at 49 cents, pretty much 50 cents, right? 49.9. Hold this as support. It could be resistance until proven otherwise. And don't forget, you do have the 786 just above you as well, right? So maybe you play around here, but once you reclaim that value area low at 50 cents, POC sits at 63 cents in confluence with a more macro golden pocket. But at the end of the day, this is your big level to reclaim. Once you get that, I'd be looking to cook up to about 63 cents, flip 63 cents, push into the 70-cent value area high, which is also confluent with a macro 786, right? So key level of resistance, and you could also look at this as a bit of a zone of resistance as well. But as from a volume profile perspective, that is the roadmap for price, in my own personal opinion. That's what I'd be looking at for XLM. Get that brush off the chart here. So there you go. That's what I would look at. Not too shabby. And what happens here, right? You're in your sideways range, in your volume profile. You impulse out of it. Where is price going to go? Into the previous value area. It fills it in full, and it respects the volume profile. Now we're back at the high. If you could break out here, I would look to respect this volume profile. And then the doorway to new all-time highs, in my own personal opinion, would probably be, break out of this zone here. Once you start cracking above about 73 cents, I think there's a good shot you could shoot into these highs at about $1.13 all the way up to $1.48. There is XLM. Not saying it has to top out there, right? But that's, I'm not going to go super. I'm not going to look at the super high targets just yet. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Digital Pencil. What is going on, bro? He says, I think I'm in love with the ADA chart. Shout out to Digital Pencil. Let's go, baby. Let's see. Shout out to Gen Z says, Ondo, boss. Yeah, we could take a look at Ondo real quick. No problemo. Everybody likes to seem to... actually, let me... so before I forget, let's take a look at Veracity. Satoshi Glakamoto says, everyone seems to like Tau for AI, but how do you feel about Fetch this cycle? Do you think it will have a nice run? What about AOIZ, Render, Prime, GRT, AKT, Near? Shout out to Satoshi Glakamoto. We'll try to take a look at some of them. But yeah, we actually haven't looked at Fetch in quite some time, so maybe I'll take a look at Fetch sooner than later. Or maybe I'll focus. Maybe I'll make like an AI chart update and look at like all the AI, all the big AI players. But real quick, taking a look at VRA here real quick. I'll take a look at I don't know if we have a VRA chart. Wow, this is super old. Crazy. Look at that. This is like local analysis all the way back here. So this is probably the last time we looked at this thing back in 2023. I can go ahead and clear this. I can go ahead and clear this chart real quick. So let's take a look. So yeah, again, just looking on like a non-log chart to get like perspective here. You know, 6,700% from the all-time high, pretty much. I'm not saying that you have to make new all-time highs on this. You know, contrary to popular belief, not everything makes new all-time highs every cycle. But I'm going to mark out some key volume profiles here. You have a major bull market VP right here. This is what we looked at on Bitcoin when we were in the bear market. And I would argue that still a lot of these altcoins are at bear market lows. Not all of them, right? There's obviously outliers, but there's your bull market value area from 2021. So I would assume if I pull the fib from the high to the bear market low, your golden pocket 786 is close. Not really, actually. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it doesn't even really bring it down. Okay, so this is what I would look at. You know, major volume profile up here. Again, you're pretty far away from this at this point. 0.013 to 2 cents at the POC to 3, almost 4 cents at the value area high. And then I would also pull this as another volume profile as well. I'm just going to call it right now. This was probably rejection of this POC, if I had to guess. I could be wrong. I was wrong. It was but it was a rejection from the value area high. Very similar. But this would be your next profile. Boom. Boom. And there you go. Breakdown, retest the value area low. Dang, this thing is getting cooked. You even have a little volume profile down here. Retesting that high, probably. Now, volume profile comes all the way down here. Yeah. So you got a little volume profile down there as well. This would be a huge level to hold. You do not want to lose this. 0.001064. This is, oh my God, please hold. Definitely don't want to lose that. But if you're able to hold this, I will say, right, in the case of a move to the upside, this would be the levels to watch. I'll give you the doorway, and then I'll give you the big level. To be quite honest, this would be an overall target for me. And I will take a look at Market Cypher B and talk about the... Oh, he did not want to see Veracity. Oh, Vara, V-A-R-A. Why did I type in V-R-A? I have terrible handwriting. I think that's the issue. Shout out to Michael S. I'll take a look at that for you, bro. But shout out to anybody who wants to see Veracity. Yeah, I mean, I'll just finish this up really quickly. Right, value area low sitting down here. I don't know if this thing's going to recover, but if it does, I would look for this to be the next big target. I don't know why I'm drawing with the highlighter, but you know, this sits between about 0.002 and 0.0039, almost 0.0039 down to the golden pocket at about 0.0030. So if this thing can recover, this is your big level to get above. Flip that value area low, then you can start cooking back up, and then hopefully that thing can get a move to the upside. I was going to say, haven't looked at Veracity in a long time. I was surprised someone would recommend that. But there you go. Anybody interested in Veracity, that's what I would look for. V-A-R-A. Vara. There we are. Let's take a look. I know I don't have a chart on this because we've never looked at it. I'm just trying to find the most price history. Yikes. Okay, so let me just mark this out real quick for you, Michael. Boom. Let's go value area low, POC, value area high. All right, so you do have a little bit of a, let's see, do you have a weekly bull div on this? You do. I mean, for what it's worth, weekly bullish divergence. I mean, even if you pull up your VPVR here, it may not be that helpful because there's not a lot of price action. But yeah, I mean, I would say this is your big shelf of volume. Pretty much this wick, right? Huge shelf of volume. This is the beginning of a pretty large volume gap, in which case, obviously, fast move down could lead, once you get above this high volume node, break into the gap, could be a fast move up to the value area low at 0.01625. And then you guessed it. If you hold that value area low, POC sits at about 0.01931. Flip the POC, value area high sits at about 0.02702. These would be what I would look at. If you could continue to cook, this would be your next volume profile. Sitting right up here. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I would pay attention to this low volume gap starting at 0.00892. Break above that, you might be able to get a full fast pump into the value area low at 0.01581. And then hopefully you can get accepted into that volume profile and continue to cook to the upside just as a visual aid here, right? Get above here. Could be a fast move. Get up in here, play around with that volume profile. And then once you get above this value area high, crack above these highs, you have a little bit of another volume gap leading you into your next profile. That's what I would look for. Weekly bull div is nice to see. Checking that 2-day money flow. Still pretty far off a crossover into the green, but it is technically trending in the right direction. I don't know a lot about this project, so just watch out for that gap. That is what I would look for. So shout out to Michael S. There's the actual coin that you requested and not Veracity. Let's see. Shout out to Ismail. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Said, love your streams. Is it possible to take a look at VeChain? Yes, I will try to take a look at VeChain. We took a look at SEI. ICP is what we wanted to take a look at. Let's take a look at ICP. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Paper Beats Rock. Says, go ETH. It's your birthday. Let's go. Shout out to Paper Beats Rock. Okay, so let's take a quick look at ICP. Well, if you guys tuned in, I think it was yesterday we looked at ICP, but obviously, I don't know. I'm not going to lie, guys. The volume profile is literally going to put me out of a job here. So, yeah, anyway, guys, these aren't volume profiles. These are secret things that only I can use and only I know about. You won't be able to use these ever, so please keep tuning into the live streams. I'm just kidding. Obviously, you have your Golden Pocket 786 down here still. I guess we looked at this. Yeah, I guess we looked at this yesterday. Fib has technically moved up to the new high. If this candle continues up, you're going to have to, trail this Fib up to the current high. Right now, it sits right here. Golden Pocket 786. You have Golden Pocket confluence at the value area low, 786 confluence on the daily MPOC. This is your biggest level of support. I don't know if you're even going to have to come back down and test that, but if you did, this would be a big zone to watch between 490 and 458. But at this point, what is going on here? Let me go ahead and mute the candle phone here. Where's it at? Mute that bad boy. Update your Amazon Prime. I'm good. But anyway, I would just say, next big target here, you're above the low. You flip that POC to support, guys. The next obvious target here would be the value area high at $6.10. Simply put, fulfill the range, fulfill the range, fulfill the range, fulfill the range. And this range was pulled, believe it or not, all the way back here in 2023. And it continues to get respected. Get above the low, POC, retest the low, flip the POC, value area high, big breakout. You come back in, support on the value area high, break back in, all the way to the low, back to the high, back to the low, back to the high, back to the low, back to the high, back to the low, back to the high. That would be the only thing I can look at, right? 2-day money flow crossing or daily money flow crossing into the green. 2-day money flow also crossing into the green. So how far are you off the all-time high? 270%. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess if you count this, it's much higher. But the last significant high, you're still pretty far away from, right? So you're just still kind of in this like little mini range down here. And then eventually, when you get an impulse, right? Let's say, we do have 2-day money flow crossing over into the green. That would indicate a continuation to the upside long term. Maybe the daily red dot or 2-day red dot gives you a little retracement. But at the end of the day, we'll be looking at that high. Once you break out here, with money flow coming up, right, you're going to get gravitated towards this next big target sitting at about 805 to 755, where your value area low POC are sitting. Flip the POC, look up towards about 965, 963 at the value area high. So there you go. Not too shabby. Watch this target here, $6.10. If you get a cool off from the daily red dot, if it decides to print, because it is, cooling off here a little bit. If you get that red dot, again, POC is a big level of support. Lose that, you're looking to come down here. That's what I'm looking at on ICP. Shout out to all the clowns out there. Let's go. All right, let's see. Shout out to Kevin, said, please do XLM. We actually already took a look at XLM, Kevin. If you scrub back just a little bit, you will see the chart pop up. Sui, let's take a quick look at Sui. Just make sure I didn't miss anything here. Shout out to Alpha Cry. Thank you for the super chat. Said, bro, I am itching to take along on Floki. Doge looking to break out, which usually means Floki will rip hard. Shout out to Alpha Cry. I wouldn't disagree with that. If we are, if Doge rips, I would probably agree. Floki's probably going to follow suit. Maybe we'll try to take a look at Doge for you in just a second. And shout out to Alpha Cry again. Says, does Axie look like a good entry for a long? Which price targets to choose? Shout out to Alpha Cry. I'll try to take a look at some of them. We're going to run out of time here in a few minutes, but I will try to take a look at as many as I possibly can. I'll try to take a look at Axie. Obviously, I can't just give you an entry price, but I will just do some analysis and give you my full thoughts. But let's take a quick look at Sui here real quick. This is not our Sui chart. There it is. All right, so let's take a look here. All right, let me just see this real quick. Low to the high. So again, you put that higher low in right on your golden pocket 786, which is very nice. You have your low, your higher low. Could look for the higher high, targeting the value area high, sitting at 453. Could be the case. And just within the volume profile, it's the same thing, right? Break above the low. POC is next. As long as you can hold that POC, maybe you play around with it a little bit. It is the strongest magnet within the profile. Remember that. But if you could hold support on top of this POC, the next major target would be the value area high / 786 Fibonacci retracement. I think we've already rejected the golden pocket right here. If I had to guess, yep, there's that golden pocket. You reject the golden pocket, so... yeah, I mean, you break above this golden pocket. I'm looking up towards that value area high at about 457. It's also confluent with the 786. 100% going to be the next target to the upside if we can continue up. Would there be a reason to expect a continuation up? Well, yeah. Even if you cool off here with a daily red dot printing, money flow starting to cross into the green on the daily. 2-day money flow is also crossed over into the green. So any pullbacks have to be looked at as lackluster for higher lows and higher highs. Looking for not only the fulfill the range, but also understanding that once you break above the golden pocket, you're probably going to be targeting the 786. That is confluent. So that is what I would look for here on Sui. Not too bad. Again, short-term turbulence based off the daily red dot. You might get it, but overall, fulfill the range is probably going to be the higher probability play there. We can get rid of this. Is outdated fib. Anchored VWAP sits down there as well. So, yeah, you're just within your profile here. Value area low at 308. POC at 376. Value area high at 453. That's what we're looking at. Let's see. ETH is ripping. Yep. I mean, not since we've looked at it, but yes. I mean, yeah, obviously, generally, ETH ripping, absolutely. ETH's not ripping. No, I'm kidding. I was like, did it just start breaking out? But yeah, just still watching that target here, 335, 34. We'll see if we get it tapped. I'll put an alert on it. Come on. All right, never mind. I'm not going to put an alert on it. It won't let me. Let me just get this real quick. We need to be notified. There we go. ETH. VAH it. What a surprise. All right. All right, let's continue on here. Back to Sui. All right. So, yeah, that's, I mean, to be honest, not much more to update there, right? Rejected the golden pocket. We're reapproaching the golden pocket. Break above this. 100% going to be looking at 453. And again, money flow, even if you get the lower time frame corrections, right? Like higher time frames, looking for higher lows, higher highs. Very, very nice, right? And again, really the time to pay attention to this stuff. Again, if we looked at anything that was approaching its previous value area low, just understand this is the time to pay attention, right? Otherwise, you get stuck trying to like find entries up when you're already pumped, and then you're you're in danger of having to like endure the pullbacks, right? So just keep that in mind. We try to keep everybody updated as the value area lows, right? But it's very hard to be bullish, after these big drops to the downside. It's like, I feel like, when you feel like it's never going to stop going down, right? It oftentimes is very hard to think like, oh, if we break this level, we're going to get a big breakout, right? But again, even from a market structure standpoint, right? Breaking this structure into the value area high would make sense to me. So there we go. That's what I would look at on SUI. Let's take a look at Axie real quick. I don't think we have an Axie chart, to be quite honest. But I will just give you local levels here on Axie. And again, obviously this is reliant on, obviously this is not just all a big fake out and we're not going to get rate cuts and everything just goes to zero, what obviously is not my expectation, but anything is possible. But I would just say this is your major volume profile to the upside. You don't really have a range that you're playing around in right now other than like the one you're creating here. So I could pull this as a little bit of a volume profile down here. Let's pull up the VPVR real quick. Yeah, I mean, you do have a, again, somewhat of a fast move down. Could lead to somewhat of a fast move up. You do have a little fall off in volume here, but that high volume node comes in at about 437. But overall, once you get a break out of this range, right, price is going to gravitate not only to the next high volume node. If you're new here, guys, these high volume nodes are simply magnets for price. When you have low volume, price travels through quickly. When you have a high volume, not only is price gravitated to it, but price likes to stick to it, right? So we have a high volume node right on that value area low, which is not uncommon. You also have a pretty significant, I know it's not a total gap here, but you have high volume, pretty big fall off. So again, you start breaking into here. I would say once you crack this high volume node at 347-ish, that is where probably the faster move up would occur into the value area low at about 501. And then flip that value area low to support. You could start cooking through the profile. And then like your expectation there is very, very clear, right? And your roadmap to where price is likely to go next. So again, imbalance out of this range, price will seek out fair value. The fairest value is at the POC. And then again, once you're inside the range, the full rotation of that range is very likely. Is money flow confluent with this idea? Well, look at that. It's not crossed over into the green just yet. But again, that could be looked at as a good thing, right? Because it's just giving you a little more opportunity to look for an entry. So it's just right on time with a lot of other things. So yeah, that's what I would look at. Value area low sitting at 501, POC at 697, and then the value area high at 953. And then locally, your local volume profile sits right here. Value area low at 209, value area high at 281. And then your thought here is, well, hey, hopefully your daily money flow is coming up, which it's trying to. So, I would watch this daily money flow. Maybe you bing bong around, but once that daily money flow crosses into the green, the continuation up may start to bring you to that bigger target at 501. So there you go. Shout out to Crypto Sharknado. What is going on, bro? Thank you so much for the super chat. Good to see you in here. He says, hey, Frankie, was looking for outsized risk to reward and threw this up for Jason, but can we look at a stonk? GMBL Esports Gaming. Thank you. Prepared yourself for this. Shout out to, okay, so GMBL. Let me take a look here. Is it a gamble? Is it a gamble? Esports and entertainment. Oh, good Lord. All right. He said prepare yourself for this, and oh, good Lord. Okay. All right. Well, the volume profile, clearly not giving us any kind of useful information there. Good God. It would be so hard for me to like do any legitimate analysis on this. I cannot pull a profile on this. I could try to pull some NPOCs or something like, not even. Dang, shout out to Crypto Sharknado, man. I can't tell you this is I can't tell you that this is not going to do anything, but yikes. There's not a lot I could do here, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, I don't even have, Market Cipher, I don't even feel comfortable doing analysis on this, to be honest, brother. I could tell you, hey, money flows in the green on the daily, but it doesn't look like that typically means much. This thing just, I mean, your last significant money flow crossover gave you a little move up. Yeah, man. Dang. I appreciate the super chat, Crypto Sharknado, but there is not a lot I can do with this if I'm being totally honest. But dang, I mean, listen, I don't know what this is. Maybe it pumps. I'm not sure. But definitely not a chartable chart for me personally. So shout out to Crypto Sharknado. I apologize, bro. I wish I can give you more. Usually I'll try to pull some kind of key level or something, but like even to pull like daily horizontals is impossible on this. So yeah, I just don't know how helpful a chart will be here, to be quite honest. But hey, I mean, if you're looking to buy the bottom, I mean, maybe this is the bottom. It's been going down for years. So maybe it makes a recovery. I don't know. You could say the 6-day money flow is trying to roll back up, but just not something I probably wouldn't be making decisions based off that. Definitely a very risky play there, just because I would have to trade this blind. But shout out to Crypto Sharknado. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Let's see. Shout out to Wick589. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He said, yeah, this is great. This is great and all, but Yellowstone apocalypse is nigh. Shout out to Wick589. Is that true? What is the Yellowstone apocalypse? That's like what's that movie? 2012? About the end of the year? That's all I know about the Yellowstone apocalypse. It's like I don't even know if that. I don't even know what that means, to be honest. But shout out to Wick589. Is there like supposed to be like a volcano erupting or something? Come on, let us get through the bull market before the apocalypse comes. It's like every time something good is happening, it's like, hey, how about a new world war or something like that? Come on, just let us have this bull market. Okay. I was on there. Yellowstone is a super volcano. Okay, yeah, so I am thinking of the right thing. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Thank you for clearing that up. Is that thing about to erupt? Is it all over? Oh man, that's okay, guys. We'll be on the moon. We'll be on the moon by that point. So we'll be safe. Animals are leaving Yellowstone. That is terrifying. I mean, are we living in a simulation? It's just like the movie 2012 is coming true. Is that really what's happening here? Insane. Huge. Yeah. Shout out to Wick589. Good Lord. Oh man. Fleeing big time. Really? Wow. That's okay. So that's actually a real thing. Dang. Come on. We're so close. Guys, Altseason soon. End of the world. Come on. Oh, dang. Oh my God. XRP's up. End of the world. Oh, Cardano's going to pump. Apocalypse. Rate cuts. Everybody's dead. Unbelievable. Come on. Let us get the bull market. Come on, world. Just stay calm. Stay calm. Everybody chill out. Let's all just buy crypto and chill. Unbelievable. But Virtuals is pumping. Everybody's done. Anyway, let's continue on. 2021 bull run. Some alts turned 100 into 30K. Let's see for this one. Yeah, shout out to Don Crypt. Oh, God. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Relax. It's just earthquakes. Yeah, it's like, anybody been seeing what's going on in New Jersey and New York with all the flooding and stuff is crazy. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't come true. Let's take a quick look at Dogecoin, guys. I had a lot of people asking for Doge here. So here we are, right? Not too much of an update, right? We were looking at Doge recently. We tapped up into the golden pocket. We got a retracement. We tapped back into the golden pocket. Looks like we're looking to break above this. Very simply put, guys. 2 reasons why I would potentially anticipate about 23 cents for Dogecoin in the coming, maybe few days or something like that. Obviously, flip the golden pocket, right? We've come up. We got the rejection. We came back up. We're starting to break above it. Once you get above that golden pocket, you're anticipating the 786. And once you get above that value area low, which sits right here, you are going to be looking up towards the POC, which is also, I'll actually move this very close to the 786. So I'd say between 22 and 23 cents is going to be the next target if you could hold that golden pocket and value area low. And then obviously the overall continuation there would be, could you get a rejection on the 786 potentially? But again, any pullback right now, as far as the higher time frames go, would have to be lackluster before higher lows and higher highs. And I would say here, this would have to move. This fib will continue to move as price pushes up. But now this fib has moved just slightly. I'm actually going to move this to the 786. So I would say a key zone of support right now I won't even really pay attention much to this right now. We'll wait to see if we get a pullback. So right now, I would say like locally, take this purple box off. Let me just mark out the value area low real quick. You have your value area low, your POC, and your value area high. Right? So I would say, right, just like anything else, number one, you're inside your larger profile. 16 cents. This has been the doorway to higher prices. It was back here during the 2024 pump. We knew once we broke this, it was very likely we'd get a fill of the range. We got it. That was also in line with a 2-day money flow crossover into the green. Fulfill the range. We are now reapproaching this with a 2-day money flow crossover and a daily money flow crossover. Your 2-day money flow crossover happened literally right at the value area low. So I would still say like same anticipation as we would have here. Cross the low, 2-day money flow in the green, fulfill the range. I don't know if it's going to be this quick like it was last time, but maybe it will be. So yeah, my overall anticipation would be to fill that range up to about 38 cents. But locally, we got above that golden pocket. If you hold the value area low at about 21 cents, I'm looking up here to between 22 and 23 cents. Flip that 786, look to go to the value area high. But again, this is just like an intermediary resistance within your larger profile, right? I will actually get this golden pocket off the chart, right? So I would just be looking at this as like intermediary resistance, right? Maybe you just kind of chop around. But again, at the end of the day, you're going to be targeting that POC. We're above the low. Next eventual target is that POC at 26 cents. And then hopefully we can get the fulfill the range, again, just like we did back here. Not just because we broke above the low, but it's also confluent with what we saw in money flow back then. Same exact thing, right? So look for that fulfill the range eventually. But again, intermediarily, there is that local resistance in this little local profile. But again, you take this off the chart, at the end of the day, I just try to let you guys know where turbulence is going to happen, but at the end of the day, you are going to be targeting that POC. So there you go. That's what I'll be looking at on Dogecoin. Shout out to Off the Grid Carnivore. Shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Said, thank you for everything you do. You are the reason my family gets to eat. Much love, brother. Yo, thank you for the super chats, guys. And more than that, thank you for the kind words. Shout out to Off the Grid Carnivore, bro. That makes my day. Shout out to you, man. You have no idea how much that means to me. I don't just say that, right? Like, that's really what makes me feel fulfilled doing this, right? The money's great. The trading is fun. But that is really why we do this. This is why I come up here every single day. We go live 5 days a week for 2 hours at a time. And sometimes, like today, we go over 2 hours. But this is why I do it. It's for reasons like that. So shout out to you, man. Hey, we're just giving the information. You're doing the work. You're actually applying it. And congratulations. Seems like you're out there winning, bro. So good for you. And thank you for being here and being part of the CandleMafia. Let's see. AVAX is pumping. Let's take a quick look at that as we are. Let's see here. Where's the AVAX chart? All right, there we go. Whoops. What were we looking at here on AVAX recently, right? You have your golden pocket 786. That's your doorway to higher prices. Come up to the golden pocket 786, little turbulence. You hold it, breakout. POC or this high volume node. This is not the point of control. You're already above the point of control, right? Not only was this the 786, but it was also your point of control of the range. And when you look at a volume profile like this, I'll give you a little sauce. When you have a volume profile like this, typically the point of control is in the middle of the range. But in this case, where it's so close to the value area low, I just look at the doorway to higher prices as between the value area low and the POC. So when you have the POC and the value area low close to each other, instead of the doorway to higher prices being the value area low, the POC is, right? Because if you flip the value area low, technically it's a doorway to higher prices, but those higher prices are right above you into resistance, right? So once you flip that POC, at the end of the day, right, like the next target would be the value area high at about 40.53. You do have a high volume node sitting here at about 26.21. You do have a high volume node here at about 36.07. But other than that, pretty big fall off in volume. Fast move down would likely lead to a reclaiming this value. High volume node would likely lead to a fast move up. To where? The next high volume node. Once you get above that, you can look to go to the high. This actually looks very nice. When we talk about these doorways, the 786s can really help us because it invalidates the idea of the downtrend continuing. Right? So if you're looking at this as like a downtrend, if you're looking for a low, a high, a lower high, and another lower low, that lower high is likely to come in this zone. But it's not all doom and gloom because if you can hold above it, you look for higher prices. Specifically cracking this high, which we did get. Right? And again, within the profile, you flip the POC, you're going to look to continue up towards your value area high. So right now, next target on the chart right now for me would be 26.11. 2-day money flow crossed over into the green. Daily money flow crossing into the green. So any pullbacks would have to be looked at as lackluster for continuations up. Simply put, watch that 26.11 level. Flip that, watch 35.93. Big old volume gap here. Could be a quick move. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on AVAX. Let's do a quick little last check-in on Bitcoin, sitting at 19,450. Still just kind of bing-bonging around on this golden pocket. So again, for Bitcoin, guys, before I let you go, this is the resistance level. The key doorway to a new all-time high on Bitcoin, in my opinion, is the 786 at 121,611. If we get back up, flip this to support, we look to push into, I would say, about 125K. That's what I'm looking at, right? I would say about 124.6 to 125K. But you got to flip that 786. Why? Because if you don't flip that 786, your high, your low, your lower high, and your lower low may be likely to come down to our next key level of support. Where's the next key level of support? Well, you now know that because we explained it in the beginning of the stream. If you just tuned in, go back to the beginning of the stream. We always start off with Bitcoin. I show you all the key levels. I walk you through this. But just to give you guys that last little reminder, this is your last level of resistance to reject. Once we crack the 786, I'd expect new all-time highs. If we don't reject there, if we don't get the breakout, right, could be a lower high before cracking structure. The downside, targeting about $115,000 where we have the next key level, which I go over in the beginning of the stream. So scrub back to get all that sauce on what I'm looking at on Bitcoin. I'm going to continue to hold my long positions here. Still up about, whatever, $2,700 on this one. Up about 8,000 on the next one. So yeah, we'll see what happens. If I catch another short position up here, you guys will know about it tomorrow. But with all that being said, that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out with us here. We went a little overboard, a little overtime today looking at the alts. But again, longer term sentiment remains the same, guys. Hopefully we are finally in this last phase of the bull market. We will see dominance continue to fall, hopefully. Total 3 finally cruising through that volume profile that we've been looking at forever. Everything is right on time here, so don't be scared of a little turbulence. I will be looking for higher prices coming very soon. And with all that being said, that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. Shout out to Mustafa. Says Ethereum daily RSI high. What do you think? Time to sell? I would think even if it is going to come back, I would still be looking for bigger continuations up long term. But again, nothing goes up in a straight line, so be careful of that. But with all that being said, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time. Any altcoins that we didn't take a look at tonight, obviously, we're not going to be able to look at every single one. So any ones that we missed, I do have them written down here. So I'll try to take a look at them tomorrow. And yeah, that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. I'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Shout out to anybody out there making money. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
What's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. We're going to take a look at VeChain. Let's jump on into the charts and do one last little check-in on VeChain. Here we are, guys. Yesterday, I believe we looked at VeChain. Was it yesterday? I think it was. Obviously, we did have the Golden Pocket 786 retracement, giving us that doorway to higher prices. Obviously, within the profile here, we did bounce off the value area low. we get that move up into the POC, and we have looked to flip that POC to support, looking for that continuation up. Obvious target here for VeChain will be the value area high at about 3 cents. And that's pretty much it, right? This was your opportunity to put in the local lower high before breaking structure to the downside once again, but that got invalidated. The lower high is now not in the cards anymore. We've held support on the POC. We are breaking out of that 786. So at this point, you look for the break of structure to the upside, which we're starting to do right now, with the eventual target of 0.03242 at the value area high. Pretty simple. I'm not going to break down every single individual level, but at the end of the day here, value area low, flip the POC. As long as we can stay above that point of control, we can look to continue that journey up. If we get a correction, POC is your first key level of support. And you do have a little bit of confluence there on your local golden pocket. 786 is sitting just below that at about, whoops, let me make that blue. 786 sits at about 0.02159, but I do like the confluence here on the POC golden pocket. So if you do come back down, this is your key level of support. But if not, regardless of if you have to get the pullback or not, because obviously daily VWAPs are cooling off on a lot of things. So if you do get pullbacks, again, money flow looking across. Still early here on VeChain. No money flow crossover on the daily just yet, but that 2-day did just decide to cross over into the green. So again, I do this on everything, right? Where does the bigger move up usually begin? On that 2-day money flow crossover, even if you have to cool back off to the POC, I will be looking for the fulfill of that range, hopefully. And then, yeah, hopefully that 2-day money flow crossover is not only an indication of a fulfill of the range, but hopefully a much longer-term trend to much higher prices, targeting the next value area low or doorway to higher prices, sitting at 0.04791. At the value area low here. But until then, you're within your profile. Let's see if we can make it up to that value area high and watch that key support if you get a cool off. But again, I would not be getting scared on pullbacks here, guys. As a matter of fact, if we get a bigger pullback and everybody's scared, I might even get even more bullish. So there you go. There's a quick little check-in on VeChain. Thank you guys for hanging out till the end of the stream. And I'll see you here tomorrow, same place, same time. You know the rest. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the